What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. Once again, my name is Edward Anderson. We're going to be on the live for about an hour and a half or so. I want to give I want to give you all my thoughts. We're going to have a conversation about Bernard Riley's stream. He was mainly talking about the Brittany Renner situation. I'm piggyback off of him. To be fair, I have full disclosure. I haven't seen. What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. Once again, I am your host, Edward Anderson. And today, what we're going to do is have a conversation about Benards' stream. I'm going to give my thoughts. This is going to be pretty quick. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Probably try to do this in like maybe, 30 minutes, but it'll probably extend to like an hour and a half. And I'm going to give my thoughts. So, full disclosure, I haven't seen the Kevin Samuels Brittany Renner interview yet. I haven't gotten around to it. I mean, honestly, I'm not terribly interested in what Brittany Renner has to say, to be honest with you. Um, but I'm gonna hear it because I know you all want to get my commentary on it. But what I'm more interested in is the commentary is kind of like some of the splash that's kind of happened as a result of that interview. And what some content creators are saying, but really not so much the content creators, because I haven't really heard anybody say anything flagrant, like anybody of note say anything flagrant. It's really more how the audience is responding, how I'm seeing like people that comment, people that sometimes get on panels, but mainly people that are more very active commenters, particularly in Bernard Riley's stream. You had a very active chat. Bernard doesn't well, I won't say every once in a while, but he often, but it's intermittently often hits north of 500 viewers at a time, which is good. Shout out to him, shout out to the platform. He had Obsidian on there because it was really about folks wanting to check Obsidian, and me, it's not, I don't really call it checking Obsidian. I really call it when I really have a disagreement with Obsidian, I just say this is what his point is, this is what my point is, and this is what that is. It's not really about checking anybody. You had Pablo on there, you had OGJ Speed on there, you had Game Changer on there. And there was this female, her name was something red on there. And that's for the most part who you had on there. Yeah, that's for the most part who you had on there. If y'all saw the stream, I'm gonna start here. I don't have a personal issue with J Speed. I really don't. But I do think that J Speed, I swear he comes in here like he's trying to be. I know I don't think he intends to do this, but he comes in here like he's an agent. Like I swear he does. His is almost as if one thing he consistently does with these conversations, and that's true if I'm on him or not, is he will come in, and he tried to do that with BGS too. And BGS never checked J Speed out of respect, but J Speed just got mad because BGS wasn't playing the same game that J Speed expected him to play, which is why BGS is on YouTube in the first place. But the thing, that's what he said. But the thing is, J Speed, he slows down the conversation. He tries to redirect it. He always tries to make it about him. It's always about him. Like he tries to put himself in the center of the conversation, and he tries to make everybody else satellites to what he thinks. And it's almost like he wants to be the representative of the Nation of Islam in this space, and then tries to like low key tries to push that onto other folks, and kind of make the conversation about, well, the reason the black community is fucked up is because they haven't submitted to the Nation of Islam. Now, he hasn't directly said that, but he indirectly says that. Number one, he does it by slick dissing the space by saying, oh, well, these are dudes are a whole bunch of complainers. And we're going to dive into the difference between the healthy way of doing that and the non-healthy way of doing that from a quote unquote complaining standpoint. But that's his prevailing theory. And what he tries, and I hate when black people do this because that chick did the same thing. I'm not sitting here saying that. I hate when black people do you don't understand me. No, it's not that I don't understand you. My comprehension is not the problem here. The problem is you can't fucking communicate shit. And I ran into the same thing with BGS and all of them on Art of Ignorance when we were having we're going to call it a pre-qualified conversation. I did not tell them, well, you all don't. I don't think I once said, y'all don't understand. I acknowledged their concerns and then reiterated some of the stuff that I said in a different way in order to try to carry over my point. I put the burden on myself that it wasn't being communicated correctly. I never said, oh, well, y'all just believe what y'all believe because y'all don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about. No, I didn't say that. Because I understood where they were coming from their perspective. And then I went along with what they were saying. I said, okay, well, based on what you're saying, this is what I'm talking about. And then when I absolutely disagreed, I said, well, we're going to agree to disagree because you can't prove that. Like when niggas were talking about light skin overrides height, bullshit. You're not going to see no 5'5" nigga snatch a bitch from a 6'6" foot nigga off the strength of being light skinned. That's not how that works. And I wasn't even going to entertain that. So I said, look, y'all can believe that. I don't agree with that. The end. No, because y'all can't statistically prove that. And then one of the youngest dude on there, 19 years old, and I'm not saying he's wrong because he's 19. He kept on giving me these examples of niggas that are 6 foot, 6'7", that are light skinned, that women like him. Not that these dudes have actually taken bitches from dudes, but because women like them. And I'm like, yo, you have not yet shown me a dude that's under 5'10" that is taking bitches from you have taken bitches from tall niggas. You have not said that. And now niggas want to pretend like black masculinity just doesn't exist. And I'm not here to cry about it. The point was the point. And I'm saying, look, this is what it is. Like, let's not try to play like it ain't what it ain't. Let's not do that, because this is about creating clarity. But my point is, now that was like the main thing I disagree. I was like, no, I'm not even getting past go with that. But the point is, I met them where they were. It wasn't some, oh, well, y'all don't understand me, so let me just keep saying the same fucking shit 30 different ways so you get it. I hate that shit. Because it's like, motherfucker, that's my problem is not my comprehension or our comprehension. If a whole group ain't understanding you, they're either being disingenuous as hell, which you can tell by the environment that that's what it was, or you ain't saying the shit right. And I get, you think because you a certain age that we supposed to kind of gravitate to what you're communicating, but we don't. And that is what it is. And even Benard is like the reasonable one. It's his show, but he's the most reasonable one on the panel. So if Benard ain't really vibing with it, and sometimes he don't vibe with what I'm saying. But when he's not, he understands what I'm saying. He just don't agree with it if he don't. And that's different than understanding. So, and I almost think he does that on purpose because it's like he sees what we do as complaining. That's what he sees it as. That's what he sees it as. And I'm not saying you don't have a right to see it that way, but your intention is always to redirect shit from what we're doing when in any case, what you're doing is fucking up the conversation. You are really slowing. You're really disrupting what the fuck is being talked about. And I've seen Jay Speed low key fuck up whole shows if you let him. That's some shit RBR low key does, except he does it in a much more retarded, exaggerated way. And the thing is, the black YouTube has the pro black space. So if you want to be in the pro black space, then basically go to that space. But our space is not that space. And I'm not like straight up. It's not fully that space like that. It's not. And there's a reason why you don't see a lot of pro blacks over here. Because the thing that he kept on saying, and I'm not trying to make this about him, is at the end he said the same thing he always says, which is black men and black women need to come to the table. And then we need to find a quote unquote solution. And then we need to be leaders. We need to be leaders in that solution. The problem is you are dealing with problematic bitches. And none of you niggas will stay with it. None of you niggas have demonstrated, none of you Negroes, no matter what age you are, have demonstrated outside of violence that you're able to turn a problematic bitch into a compliant bitch. None of you black men have figured that shit out. None of y'all. And running game is temporary. Running game is temporary because she's choosing to comply with your program in the immediate. She's choosing to comply. So just y'all really think that y'all got this in DC Comics they call it the anti-life equation, where the anti-life equation is basically your ability to strip a individual of free will. And if you can create this equation, you can basically take free will away from people. A lot of you niggas actually believe black male leadership is that. And you all have this idea that women are just going to fall in line if you establish these leadership traits. This is where BGS's video becomes important about the renegades. This is where the Brittany Renner shit becomes important. You cannot make a bitch come off a the renegade mode unless she chooses to. And that's if she can choose to. Because a lot of Crimson Cure said, is right about this. A lot of these women, once you get that blood in your mouth, you really can't undo it. Women think that them going through whole phases, 1, 2, 3, that you can just decide to not do that. We know that's not true because what is the main thing females complain about today? Boring. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not saying we know there's white people boring and there's black people boring. Most black men are not black people boring, are not white people boring. So what it is you are anti-structure. This is where that song "She a Runner, She a Track Star" shit comes from. When you can't let that chaos spirit get out of you. And that chaos spirit is anti-structure. It is anti-normal. That's why I did a video a long time ago saying, and I need to start putting more videos up on classics up on the Patreon. Appreciate y'all that's supporting that. A lot of women are anti-normal. A lot of black women are anti-normal. And they never not come from that. And when you look at the things that is constantly in them, Real Housewives, what they deal with in their own home, what they deal with in school, everything that's in their five senses is anti-normal. When I say normal, I'm talking about calm, peaceful, predictable structure. And all the fun and games happens outside of that. It's not that dudes are boring. It's that dudes want a base of operations. And from that base, life. Because let's be clear, as a black man, life is not boring. And what you have is women that they just need this constant fucking entertainment. And that is a maturity thing. You're not supposed to be a 30-year-old bitch acting like a teenager. That shit is understandable for teenagers or women that are, let's say, 23 and under. That's understandable. Once you get 20 or like north of 25, and really it's north of 23, you're supposed to be transitioning out of that. And honestly, it's sooner than that because non-black women move sooner than that. They really move out of that at 21. You know, the ones that are gonna be in the decent classes and not in low class status. But I'll give black women 25. Once you're 25, you're supposed to be moving out of that. And this is why you got females talking about you ain't supposed to be thinking about marriage till you 30. as if your egg your reproductive years, and not only those years, but your years to secure the best man that you want based on your list happens way before that. But it's that renegade shit. And Dana, same thing. That renegade shit. Niggas like J Speed and the Nation of Islam, because people, this is why the nation either they breed the women that they need. When I say breed, that sounds horrible. What I mean is you're either born into that, or they wait till bitches get absolutely broken before they're open to adhere to that level of structure. You ain't seeing women in their prime coming into that, because we have a renegade and a lot of women are renegades. It's not just black women, Latin women are starting to operate that way too. But you know, BGS was absolutely spot on about the renegade shit. And what you have is dudes that think they can turn renegades into they think their leadership can transform a renegade. The only reason that shit is working in the first place is because these women ain't got nowhere else to go. So you really providing food and shelter. It's like you going to get fucking rescue hounds and shit. And then you calling that leadership. That's not leadership. And that's a way of doing that without providing that's a way of getting around certain incentives that women are going to try to demand in order to comply. Anyway, shout out to Xanatos Clutch. Most black men are not white people boring. Looks like I entered the building just in time. Yeah. Xanatos is not somebody I consider white people boring. So when motherfuckers talk about boring, you know, when these women talk about boring, that shit is a matter of perspective. And then you have to go no further to the type of guys they find exciting. Criminals. Or if they're not criminals, niggas that literally are basically these nomad motherfuckers. That they not going nowhere. So the shit is exciting that they're going nowhere fast until they run straight into a dead end wall, and then you with them. Now you're mad. Shout out to Freeman's Journal for the $5 super chat. Coming to the table time is over. They threw the gauntlet. They don't get to say just kidding. Burner got actually to the ground. Defund single mothers. Yeah, the 2010s, really that shit was over in 2017. The 2010s were the come to the table. That was the last time to really come to the table. Yeah. My point, Xanatos, is the non-black women that are chaotic, those women are very easy to point out because you know they're not going nowhere. Now, you got two categories of those females. Because a lot of those females, a lot of non-black people will point out these are the people that like to hang with the blacks. They like to hang with the brothers. That's one way that they point them out, and that's not always the case. Because a lot of these women are going through that. That's not always the case, but that's how they try to game it. Then you got, there's really three types. Then you got women that they're really going through a phase because they are young and they'll come out of it. And then you got women, and you got women that they're going to stay in that phase because that's who they are. Usually their upbringing can usually give you a good indicator of which group they're going to be in. Because I've seen that. I've seen all three. But my point is, this idea, this is the one thing he keeps coming back to. He keeps coming back to black men are complaining. Black men are not complaining, black men are communicating. And because you're not used to it, you want to call it complaining. Well, what's the solution? Black men have solutions. IGMOR, Interceptor Black Men of Reform, has like 7 tenets. Their solutions. SYSBM is that we literally have shit acronyms for fucking solutions. We have a custom solution, which is whatever the fuck you want to put together. Pump and dump is a solution. Well, those are not solutions for the community. Who said anything about community? SYSBM is about community, but they're about community based on like-minded and not allowing race to be the centerpiece of that. Because they believe that race is being used to make them comply with a fucked up community and a fucked up culture. So the problem is, so they're community minded. Now, I don't completely agree with everything that they get said, because they try to act like we're gonna create a new community that's gonna be black male ran, like in the long term. But it doesn't matter. They have solutions. And Igmore has compensated for a lot of those problems, but Igmore is not necessarily community minded. Igmore is more individualistic. Pump and Dump is more individualistic. So you keep on saying, what about the community? But see, we're not always having that conversation. The reality is, y'all want to talk about community, but like the women only want a community that benefits them. They're not willing to negotiate. They're not willing. It ain't even about fucking negotiation. They're playing a winner take all situation. That's what they did. The gender war is not men versus women. It's women trying to suppress black masculinity and control it. And when you look at what they're willing to do, they're willing to cut the nuts off of their own sons and these boys to do it. And when they always want to play the game of, I didn't know, that's not an excuse. That's that I'm following orders bullshit. 8 out of 10 of these women that say that are lying. They do know. That shit wouldn't fly with Kevin, and that shit wouldn't fly with BGS. That shit wouldn't fly with a lot of us. But they push that shit to people they think will hear that shit, or they don't know how to discern it. And I see Karina's in here. Like I said before, immigrants don't count because those are different dynamics. I'm talking ADOS. Those are different dynamics when it comes to when I say that shit. Those are completely different dynamics, because folks in the islands got their own hierarchies, their own bullshit to deal with, depending on the island, depending on the situation. That's not the same thing. So I get it. And the military shit is a little bit different too, because that's not civilian life. So those are those are exceptions. That's most black women are not in the military. Most black women are, I'm not talking about nobody that's immigrant or first generation. And when I say immigrant, I mean their parents were immigrants or something like that. So we all know the exceptions. And then if you really think about it, now that I'm thinking about it, you got Nurse Nerd in here, Jamaican. You got Chantel Simone, Jamaican. Why is it that there's an increasingly number of females that actually got some fucking sense, are non-ADOS? That non-ADOS women technically don't count in that pool of 20% of black women that operate in common sense. I'm talking about, because see, technically they come from another culture. So technically, it's not the same. I'm talking about ADOS women. And what you're finding is it's hard pressed to find ADOS women that got fucking common sense. So what they try to do is say, oh, well, we can produce black women. That don't count. I'm talking about ADOS women. Because all that does is promote intercultural dating. That just proves that black men need to interculturally date. That's all that proves. You're trying to make that case. So my point is, when you're dealing with females that they want to do what they want to do, they are not doing that because it's like these dudes think of it like kittens. Like when you got these little hissing kittens, like I'll watch them videos of white bitches trying to make these hissing kittens act right, these rescue shelters and stuff. And then they're doing all that, all that crazy shit. They call them spicy and all of that. Well, we know these kittens were born to a mom that didn't have a home. They're wild. They're in the wild because they're in a wild situation. Okay, they're animals. That's understood. And then you have to deal with them in a way over weeks, couple of months to get them out of that so you can get them in the house. I get that. And they're willing to do, and they don't even bring the mom over. They usually separate the things from the mom because the mom is too far gone because it's a cat. It's good. It's what it is. I get it. That's how a lot of black men view black women. They view black women as you weren't protected, provided for. You came from whatever survival mode bullshit story that you've been taught to listen to them from. And as a result, everything they do is a response to that. But by definition, but at the same time, we're in a community. This is the epitome of doublethink. Women are not accountable for their actions, yet you're dealing with the same women that's going to say, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man. And here's another thing about those kittens, by the way. You got control over them motherfuckers. They don't eat unless you feed them. So you have all controls over their survival and everything. If you let, and to a certain extent, they wait until they're willing, they put food there, let them eat, then they put them in, it's like transitional. They put them in situations where in order to eat the food, you got to eat it around them. In order to eat the food, you got to come out your cage. They do it in steps, but it's still under the control of the person giving the food. You're asking men, you are asking men to provide this thing called leadership without any authority. That's bullshit. And it doesn't matter. Like, take a guy like Freeman. Freeman is married and has a career. So for all purposes, he has the things necessary to say he is a block in a chain that produces a strong chain. Yet I saw him on a video be lambasted like he's a and he didn't take it that way, and I know it wasn't meant that way. But they're talking to him like they his daddy is some shit. They trying to be nice about it. But I'm like, do you understand what this looks like when all of y'all are collapsing on this nigga? This is a dude that's married with a kid, particularly a daughter. So it's not like so there's a lot of things that I know he knows just by happens of what his situation is. On top of that, he has a I don't know what his career is, but I know it's a flourishing career. So he's a template of what y'all say these motherfuckers should be. So maybe his fucking opinion should count for something. All them niggas, because it didn't align with that African bitch's feelings, which her feelings shouldn't even count because she can't speak to our situation. And quite frankly, I'm gonna say it like this. Y'all, the Caribbeans, I give a little bit more rope to because they are descendants of slaves as well. So I give them more rope. But when Africans come over there, when Africans try to talk to us about our shit, that is some patronizing shit. Maybe y'all need to get the white man and the China man out of y'all fucking countries, building y'all shit for you before you fucking talk to us about our shit. So when I see a woman and I'm seeing an African female saying, well, this is what we need for black men and black women, I'm like, bitch, this isn't your tribe. Like, the truth is, this ain't your situation. This ain't your problem. The only reason this should be like, because you can't say as an African woman that you have a hard time finding an African American man that's capable of going into a role. But see, then when I listened to that female, I realized she said it. She said, oh, well, I grew up around women and the women were problematic. So I saw female problems. So you're one of these African matriarchs. They're worse than the bitches we got to deal with because y'all are really flagrant because y'all are dealing with real patriarchy. So y'all really have a threat level thing to these because a lot of these women here are capping. Y'all are really pushing. So once I actually listened again to what she was saying, I'm like, she's literally trying, and this wasn't even her show. I came into this shit thinking this was her show. And this turns out this was King shit. And he letting this bitch run it. And it's like, and I'm using terminology like that because I would have told her to shut the fuck up. And then all them niggas would have white knighted, man, we don't need to use that language. We don't need to do all of that. Nigga, I don't really man, get the fuck out of here with that. Get the fuck out of here with that. So anyway, my point is, and I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to make this about Jay Speed. I already spent 30 minutes on that. Is your this permission-based leadership shit? You need to kill that shit. Stop coming into space saying the same shit over and 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 over again. Like we gonna give you a different fucking answer. You've been to multiple panels, and everybody's saying the same shit. They're responding the same way to that shit. And people are not trying to cuss them out or jump on them and be stupid. But it's like, goddamn, nigga, we are not in the old school situation. We are not dealing with old school bitches. We're not. We're not dealing with females that as long as they in a winning situation, they know how to calm their ass down. And they may have a couple of flare-ups every once in a while that you got to manage. That is not the fucking bitch we're dealing with. So I get fucking tired of niggas saying that old shit is going to work on these new bitches. We're dealing with full-fledged fucking full-fledged renegade shit, which was not the same. And then we have less of a community to deal with that shit. And then we don't have Big Mama, because Jay Speed can talk that shit all he wants to. But the truth is, Jay Speed had an older black woman that if he needed to go to, and if that bitch got too out of line, the older black woman, the Big Mama, would slap the living shit out of that bitch. Little girl, come here. And fucking slap the shit out her ass. Just like that grandmother that disowned their this grandmother tried to disown her granddaughter because she was on ghetto gaggers. And if you listen to that story that Pink Book gave, and I'm gonna move on after I'm done with this. You listen to that story that Pink Book gave, the dudes in that family didn't want to show her the picture. She had to make them show, and she said it. She said in the post, I had to make my your cousin, shout out to Dart the $5 cash app. Make sure y'all hit the cash app. I had to make your cousin show me this shit. And then you got a whole bunch of talk about you got cousins that are producers. These niggas are crying. I'm like, nigga, why are you crying? Yeah, you can be embarrassed, but why are you crying? What the fuck? Look at that female chick. What the fuck did you think she was gonna do? She looked like a $2 crack hoe. I'm just saying. And that's a normal picture. That's not a ghetto gagger version of the picture. So she had to actually enforce upon these bitch ass niggas in her family, because them niggas would have forgave her. Them niggas would have been talking about healing and shit, just like Black Babble did. That channel, it's a channel I've been watching for a little bit. Black Babble talk about what she need, even though she did this act, she need more than anything. She need help. She need healing. No, she needs to be excommunicated. You know the shit the Christians like to talk about? But this is what you hoe ass niggas like to do. Y'all like to fucking deal with rescue bitches. And the truth is, you all are taking energy away from the females that are actually compliant and actually useful. I believe you overprotect, overprovide for the women that are compliant and on the team, and then the rest of them bitches let them be washed, and then you replace them. That's what you do. You niggas don't want to do that. So what you do is you come over here and say, we're complaining. And then you say, oh, well, there's no solution. No, there's no solution you don't like. And this is where we got to take accountability, because I've been talking about I'm going to create that blog for a long time and ain't done shit with it. But I'm going to start putting this shit together. Like, one of the things I'm going to start doing with this channel is we're going to have the rants, we're going to have the education, and then we're going to call it the celebrity jump, the celebrity, like the trending news arm. That's going to be the triangle how this works. In the educational part, I'm going to lay this shit out. These are the solutions that the Black manosphere has. That way, fuckers can stop saying we don't have solutions, and start being honest and saying you don't like the solutions we have, because now that's going to force you to have to put your solution up. And when you have to put your solution up, you're going to realize it's the same blue pill shit that all y'all been saying, which is why we exist. Point blank, period. The end. The end. But the moral of this story is, stop talking that permission-based leadership does not work against renegades. And if you don't believe that's harmful, niggas like PJ Washington are niggas that would believe that shit. Oh, well, shit, I'm an NBA player. I'm over 6 feet. I'm more lighter in tone. Shit, this chick, she acts the way she acts because all them niggas are done wrong. I read her book. Look at Colin Kaepernick, made her buy her own ticket. If I do her right, she seems like a nice person. Y'all walk into a Venus flytrap, and these women always want a fertile environment for you all to walk into it. They want you to walk into these minefields blind, which is why they're always trying to reset the conversation, trying to play like they don't know or play stupid, while they always trying to act like they are not intentional about their actions. Why they always got a bullshit reason that you just supposed to accept that don't make fucking sense. They want a fertile environment for you to be stupid. And a lot of y'all dudes cater to that shit. Even y'all wanting to hold these hoes accountable is kind of a misnomer. Which, to the extent that Todd City and Ramil was talking that shit, I'm in agreement with. It doesn't matter. Move the fuck on. Now, are we going to still speak truth to power? It's like David Carroll said. You got to preach against the propaganda. We're not complaining. We're talking about the fucking propaganda. And I get that some y'all niggas are used to the propaganda, so you're okay with the propaganda, but other black men are not. David Carroll is not complaining. Anyway, with that being said, all right, we're gonna move on from that part. That I didn't even mean for that to be long. That was about to be the whole stream in and of itself. Anyway, my bad. I need to start putting more of y'all shit in here. All right. So let me reorganize myself a little bit. So we talked about that initial shit. That was more in the end. The other shit I want to talk about is this thing, when Game Changer and like Game Changer originally came on there, and this kind of back and forth that people are doing, with saying that Kevin Samuels is giving Brittany Renner a platform and he's giving her credibility. I fuck with some of y'all, and Game Changer's not saying that. I'm talking about the audience. Let me be very clear about this, but this is more around the time Game Changer came on there. Game Changer's argument was more like, I'm going to call out fuckery, and I prioritize calling out fuckery more than saying he's fucked up for engaging in fuckery and getting bit, and that's what you get. Game Changer's position is that I'm not going to play the that's what you get card. Even if it's a lesson, I'm going to keep my foot on that bitch's neck and call out black female fuckery. That's legit. He has a right to do that. There's plenty of people that could cover many angles in this space. I prefer to cover both of them. Shout out to Bartender. No Lies Told. Broly, appreciate that for the $5 on Cash App. Do some of my statements.
I will give $100 million to whoever gets me out of here. $100 million!
That's a good movie, man. SWAT. LL Cool J, Colin Farrell, Samuel Jackson as always. Jeremy Renner was in there as a villain. But yeah, let me do better to get y'all shit on here too. But yeah, so actually I had an idea real quick. Let me write that down. Do transparent side banners so that they can still see talk. Create template. All right. Yeah. Anyway, so this ain't at Game Tech because his positions are different. But this is where it kind of started all that conversation. So Game Changer and Obsidian were kind of having their own conversation. And I agree with some things Obsidian was saying, what Game Changer was saying. We're going to get that in a second. But all you niggas talking about, he's promoting women and he's a part of the niggas, shut the fuck up. Like, seriously. And there's two groups of that. There's groups in the manosphere and that's doing that, like audience members, and these are the niggas that always want to be on they come at they're like anti-manosphere but in a different way. They always want to be like the manosphere is about to be dead. The manosphere, they love content like that. They love the manosphere is about more of these hoes. And I'm not saying that's completely not legitimate, but they dive into it a little bit too deep on it. So if Ramil puts out a video talking about that, or Ty City, they always want to gravitate towards that. Always, the manosphere is always dying in these niggas' eyes. Always. And every little thing, it's like every little thing that they see that they don't like, they pay service to that. Then you got motherfuckers that they're what I call Kevin Samuels clip watchers. And this is where Benard kind of wasn't getting it fully. These are like people that have nothing to do with the manosphere. Like Kevin has 1.275 million subscribers now. His shit is beyond the manosphere. Like, I don't know a full estimate of what the pool of audience members we have in the manosphere, but I mean, O'Shea is like one of the higher ones in the black, like the highest one in the black manosphere outside of Kevin. He's at 185. So you're talking about literally 6 times that. So you're dealing with stuff that ain't got nothing to do with us. So what happens is everybody wants to try to say, "Ooh, well, all of y'all are making content in the black manosphere. See, this is what it's really about." See. And that's why Bernard was very defensive on that. But I kept on saying that, You got a lot of people that found his content in a variety of different ways. Kevin even said it, and Kevin agreed with me because he actually chatted in the suit in the chat box and said, "Ding, ding, ding." Said, I get it. What I said was right because a lot of them are looking at it as checkers. They don't see the chess moves, and as a marketer, I can see like pay attention to things a lot of y'all wouldn't see because of the thing behind the thing behind the thing. So he actually he heard what I said and agreed with what I said. So just FYI. But or at least showed he agreed with it. So the thing about it is you have people that they found Kevin Samuels content via TikTok. That group is usually younger. So those are going to be like 25 and under groups because TikTok is a younger platform, although there's people of variety ages on TikTok. And you got a whole TikTok channels to the extent that they can stay up because sometimes they do take them down. There's nothing of Kevin Samuels gearing bitches up because that's what they edit it to look like, and they do it for entertainment. It's entertaining, just like how some people find the smash or pass shit entertaining. There's a lot of shit you see with women doing, so it is what it is. Then you got the content Kevin produces on his own when Kevin does the Instagram content and he puts that on YouTube, and then usually he usually puts the more the women that start wilding out the most, he usually puts that on there. Now he doesn't always. Sometimes you put a lot of times it's like either I would say it's 40% that, but it's 60% now. He's starting this if it's a better conversation that he wants people to have. But that's to the extent that he kind of focuses his content as he's focusing specific conversations. Right. So this idea that he's a part of the gynocracy, anybody that's saying that is a joke, and you're misusing something that I put a lot of energy and effort, and I sacrificed a lot of channel growth to promote, which is the gynocracy. Outside of BGS, I'm probably the preeminent ones in the space that talks about it, because most people don't even use the word gynocracy. And I'm telling you, as somebody that put a lot of hand in promoting that basically that line of thought, y'all need to shut the fuck up. You sound stupid. You sound dumb. Because see, the thing about it is, Kevin has always said he is for a community, but he is for a community on a man's terms, which is why he says he's very unapologetic about telling niggas you need to get there, and you niggas need to get to the point in which you can enforce your standards. And like he's been very unapologetic about doing that, and then people don't like that, because what they want from Kevin is they want Kevin to beat these women's asses back into basically accepting what black men want them to accept. And these chicks are pretty much telling you they're going to be renegades before they accept that bullshit. And so the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? Now, are you going to be a high value man? I'm not saying you have to, but a lot of y'all niggas are acting like y'all just cannot date nothing but an ADOS black woman. So by definition, you all are taking a knee on that. And what you do is you think Kevin is going to reel these women back to sanity. Most of the chicks he talks to are washed anyway. Those women are already there. They rather risk dying alone to submit to your black ass. And it really don't matter how much money you got. The truth is. So the question is, what are you going to do? I provided intercultural dating. Y'all already know what interracial dating is. But y'all have put yourself in this situation. And I'm saying y'all, I mean who it applies, where you all are desperate for them to come back to the table. And this is why a lot of y'all be fucking with Obsidian, because he kind of fans flames and shit like that a little bit. Which is why Obsidian said he's not as bad as Kevin when it comes to checking these chicks. See, me, I'm like, if you're 40 and over, you're washed for the most part. There's a few exceptions to that rule, but ain't nobody trying to get no long-term relationship with no 40-year-old, not unless you already up there in age. That's a market in and of itself. But if you're somebody that you're like still up and coming, you're not, or you're at your peak, you're not about to, why would you get with a 40-year-old? I know Roxy Beckles put a video out talking about 40 and still beautiful, but Roxy Beckles is an exception to the rule. These women are trying to artificially make 40 the new 30. Bullshit. And you can only make that happen in the black community because the black men are the only ones that's going to even begin to accept that. Ain't no white motherfucker or no Asians ain't even going to accept that. Ain't nobody accepting that but black men. Which is why you can even try to pull that shit. Yeah. So the point is, Kevin is always about men doing what's in their best interest, and part of what's in your best interest is being ruthless to getting to the point where you can enforce what's in your best interest. So that's why he brought up the date out thing. But you got a lot of dudes that they may not be as goofy as them niggas that called in that show, but they got the same quote unquote spirit as those dudes. They're probably more like either Jeff Brown, where they're not as weak about it, but they play this game with themselves like they playing like they just gonna sit there and then quote unquote have a conversation. A lot of these conversations are dead on arrival. It's just like going to war. Like when the Japanese, before we nuked their ass, they wanted to come to the table with all this bullshit. And we said no. At the end of the day, the only thing the Americans really gave the Japanese was they said, we're going to let you be able to call your emperor because he's the one that got y'all to calm. The only reason we're doing that is because he's the one that told y'all to stand down after we fucking nuked y'all. But other than that, and that's the only reason. We'll give you that because that don't really mean shit to us, what you call him, because he ain't got no power. But whatever floats your boat. But that's the only thing they gave. What black women are trying to do is trying to remix the conversation to we want to come back to the table, we want to negotiate, but they're trying to freeze the conversation. This is like Star Trek reference, the Dominion War. I said this before, the Dominion was very good at having wars and then stopping the war. So during the peace talks or during the stand downs or period, they can completely do assassinations, fuck shit up, reiterate the conversation, completely rewrite shit. So by the time they started the war back up, they was able to maul through people because they were able to strategically perform surgery, and motherfuckers they were doing passive aggressive warfare, kind of like what America does, what we do now. Passive aggressive warfare. That's what women are doing. Make no mistake, these women are these sons can't read. These women are destroying these boys. They're aborting these kids. They're doing all these things while they want to talk about negotiating, coming to the table. And you don't see, and Obsidian was absolutely spot on when he brought up when that chick Red was talking about. Like, these women do not want to, it's not about you combating these women that are ratchet. You need to declare you are a separate entity from them. And I understand that that's hard because women are they're the social gender. So that is a lot easier said. That goes against a woman's nature. I understand that. I can empathize with that. But Kevin has said the same thing. Just like how men that are squares separate themselves from niggas that's on the Pookie and Ray Ray shit. They draw a line. Square, you don't associate square shit with criminality. This is not to say that you can't be a square doing white collar crime, but you don't typically associate that. See, with black women don't do that, and they refuse to do that. And you don't have to attack black women to basically say this is not what black femininity needs to be about. And I'm gonna tell you how you know all these bitches are full of shit when they say, "Oh, well, I'm scared. Well, I don't know. Have you seen these women? I just like they fold. Like Obsidian was saying, this is how I know y'all are full of shit. I have seen plenty of divestment. I don't talk about this often, but I got a channel. I got an email address that's YouTube for all that. I call it hell YouTube. So where all the divestment bullshit is, every once in a while, it's not an email I use. I'll go into there. And there just to see where the algorithm's going to take me. Where the algorithmic tide of YouTube will take me on that dusty bitch shit. The nigger sector, as David Carroll, the nigger bitch sector, David Carroll would call it. And there's a lot of channels. There is debate within the divestment movement. There's a lot of women that think Kristen LeCarzin is full of shit. There's degrees to that. Most of them are bad, but there's degrees to that. But one uniting thing that I don't see none of them motherfuckers do. Now keep in mind, these are women that say, we're not talking about your Yanni Reds, we're not talking about your Cynthia, we're not talking about the basic, the Mount Rushmore of bitch ass hoes. We're not talking about them. I'm not even talking about the second tier bitches. I'm talking about like the women that they got channels, kind of like mine. They got channels, but they're not really big, but they can get engagement. If you listen, and it's hard when you listen to a lot of them, they never they make it seem like black love is this thing that black men trick black women into. And if I could bring one of these chicks up, I would ask, where do you think black love comes from? Hold on, Freeman. Cause you know when I get going, nigga, I need the post legs, nigga. I need a wrench. All right, you got it. So anyway, I would love to ask them, where do you think black love comes from? Like, where do you think that fucking concept comes from? Because y'all make it, because what I'm hearing is this is just another intersectional like the myth of the black patriarchy concept. Well, you know, we were indoctrinated with this idea of black love, and you know, we had to just work our way out of that because you know, you like this is that bullshit David Carroll was talking about when women want to rewrite history, where they want to make it seem like black men are the ones that bestowed the idea of a strong black woman onto a black woman because we're too weak to want to do shit ourselves. So we basically push women up in the forefront. Those are not half truths. Those are outright lies. And these are lies, and this is where that shame, guilt, and need to be right comes from. Part of the shame is not they feel shame. Shame is that they shame you as a way of running interference to what the truth is. Guilt is they guilt you. And the need to be right is them being combative. All of these things are designed to do is to run interference either passively or actively to keep you away from what the center of shit is, to keep you from opening that matrix door that leads you to the architect, which we'll call that the truth. Because the architect laid all the truth out in its cold, unforgiving manner. And this is when, you know, you had all the screens with Morpheus wilding out. And then when Keanu Reeves, Neo, brought that to Morpheus, Morpheus was the simp. And I hate to say that. And then what happened to Morpheus? Morpheus broke. Morpheus broke. Because his entire shit came down like a house of cards. And he couldn't attack Neo because Neo was the guy he put all his cards in and a guy that he actively found and actively developed. So who did he go to next best thing? That black bitch, the Oracle. And he said, after all this happened, how the fuck you think I'm going to listen to your bitch ass? Because it was that black bitch that told him about all this shit. See, y'all forgot about that shit. But the point is, they literally, like, they are literally creating narratives and storylines in order to cope with the fact they cannot accept that black women, like David Carroll says it, black women wreck this shit. And where black men failed is in carving black women out early on when they did that. That's where black men failed. The playing the stepdaddy program after the crack era. And I'm not here to tell these niggas what they should have did because it was a complicated time and there were different circumstances. I get that. So this is not judgment, but I'm just saying what the fuck it is. Where black men messed up is black men didn't stomp that shit out when it could have been. And because black men have never been truly heavy-handed with black women, not compared to other groups. Because black men absolutely refuse to. See, I'm gonna keep it all the way 100, and we're gonna keep it 100 right now. And this may go PG more than PG-13. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. I'm standing on what the fuck I'm saying. There is no path. There is no path to a better black community that's not bloodless. There's not. There's not. All this permission based bullshit, you might as well say fuck it. There's not gonna, because by the time women are ready to listen to shit, the community is gonna be so beyond gone. It's gonna be so beyond gone. There's nothing you can do. It's gonna be on some Book of Eli shit. That's when motherfuckers are gonna wanna understand some shit. You don't believe me? Look at the community right now. Do you see these women getting better? Or do you see them? You see some women getting better, but for the most part, they're really talking out of both sides of their ass. They're worshiping ratchet and 304 culture as if ain't nothing to lost a step, but at the same time, they're speaking shit into the environment to keep the niggas that want to keep hope alive, to keep them to stay. That's really what it is. And you cannot show me in human history, you cannot show me any example, no matter what race, what ethnic group, whatever, you cannot show me in human history where things have gotten even like 10% as to what it is now, where women have just decided to act right because of men's leadership. Generally, what you happen is the threat of violence from outside forces is what keeps women from spinning out of control like this. But we're in a unique situation because we are a client race in a multicultural nation. So we don't control everything. We don't control hardly anything when it comes to our own situation. We are within an environment. It's literally the Mount Utopia shit. Well, we're not talking about, no, I'm not talking about war like that. But what I'm saying, and I'm being very clear, this idea that you believe that you're just going to come to the table and everybody's going to talk it out, that requires that is incredibly naive. And that's incredibly naive because you're assuming that black women are going to come to the table in good faith. No, they're not. And there is no evidence that you've seen that they will. You can't show me no evidence on really YouTube that black women, when they get in the panels with black men, come to shit in good faith. You can't show me that. I challenge you all to go get that. And that's why I brought up the Lapid Network in particular on Benards' panel. Because when Jay Speed was talking about, well, we need to come together and talk for a solution, that's a representative of what that looks like. And when you look at not only the network, but their satellite channels, it comes back to black women trying to enforce, they're trying to hold on and enforce shit they want shit to be. And see, the problem is, dudes don't even have to engage in that conversation. Like, honestly, what black men need to do is operate like mercenaries, meaning I'm doing for me, and if it's not in my best interest, fuck it. What about the community? What about it? The community, you got to show me where a community would benefit a black man individually. You can't show me how a community benefits black boys. You can't show me that. So why would I put energy into something that doesn't benefit? Most of these niggas are doing it for nostalgia purposes. Most of these niggas are doing it because in their mind, they've tied their manhood to what they feel is right and moral. That's what they've done. You're a stupid motherfucker to do that in this environment. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're just as dumb as PJ and Will Smith, because that's exactly what that shit looks like. PJ is young, Will Smith is old. They doing the same goofy shit for the same type of goofy bitch. And they say the same goofy shit as responses. They hold on to morality. And that's another thing, too, that I'm going to say. I want to be very clear here. I have an honor. I'm honorable. Well, first of all, bartender, I want to be very clear. You keep saying no more talking. Yeah, war needs to happen. No, that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is black men just need to remove themselves from the equation. Meaning you do what's in your best interest, the end. Ain't nobody going to war to fix that bitch. Fuck that. I'd rather import. Nigga, because here's the thing. The question let's say, okay, let's put violence on the table. Let's put violence on the table for real. You know that you're going to jail. So if you look at the options on the table, to get the violence, you got to say, okay, well, I might as well date other women. Well, they need to be black. Well, other diaspora women. Not to say that all diaspora women are better. I'm just saying. So the problem is, you're not in a situation to where that's your only option. That's not your only option. See, typically when you find that groups go to violence like that, they go to violence, they have no other option. They have no other option is really viable. We have other options. I'm just saying that for the people that like to say you can't date out or you can't go to another group or you can't do shit, and they want to talk about this permission-based leadership shit, well, we just need to endlessly talk it out. We just need to endlessly come to the table. As if our difference of opinion is exactly that, a difference of opinion. These niggas are dumb. At this point, you're either knowingly lying to yourself or you're fucking stupid. Because these women have made it very clear about what they are, how they get down, why. And you've seen it in actions as far as academia and all of that. You've seen it what they've said to you for decades. All of that shit ain't no I'm misguided, but that's what black men need to believe. Because again, black men black men has to forgive the black woman no matter what they do. This is why I did that series. What does it take to not be forgiven? Because to black men, there's nothing the black women can do to be forgiven. Now we're going to segue, now that I've addressed that, we're going to segue back to my other argument. Black men, I am an honorable person. I believe in doing the right thing. That being said, my morality and my honor will not be weaponized against me by a force that is competing with me or doing something that's not in my best interest. You will not do that. That's not something, I'm not something where all you got to do, I'm not a program that can be decoded like that. No. And the problem with most black men is a lot of black men, what they like to do is they like to use their morality to stand in to be a mask for their weakness. If you don't have an ability to levy consequences on a woman, then what your morality does not matter. So and this is where it comes to Kevin. Black men Kevin does not talk about morality. He talks about outcomes and how inputs, process, outputs, outcomes. The process is fucked up. Your mind, like the environment's got you fucked up. You got you fucked up. And as a result, the inputs that you're putting in is leading to the outcomes you're bitching about. We are here because you don't like the outcome. That's why we're here. Well, as far as why you are here. So what black men try to do is they try to talk about, well, you need to fix your spirit. We need to get right with the Lord. We need to and even when Kevin talks about religion, he talks about it in a very systematic standpoint. This is what the text says. This is what you're actually doing. You're using the text you're bending the text in order to facilitate your own bullshit. You're not really adhering to the text. You're using the text to match your own fucked up shit, which is you perverting the text. And the problem is the leaders that lead you are doing the same fucking shit. Your fucking pastor, as David Carroll talks about. So they're actually assisting you in that. And so this is why women always say, well, I'm going to let God do it, or in God, because this is their idea of thinking they're a good person, not in actions, but in feelings. Most of these chicks are not. You got 304s talking like they Christian. And this is why black people love Christianity, because black people love Christianity because Christianity has a sense of forgiveness. It has a sense of no matter what you do, you can always say I'm good and I'm changed and then be changed, knowing you're lying. This is why black people don't like the term, like the concept of repenting. Technically, you're not supposed to be forgiven until you have repented. Repented means turn away from. Meaning you don't get to play I'm relapsing in the whole culture over and over and over again. That counts. When you die and go to heaven, they pay attention to how much you did that shit. And that shit counts against you. So but on the black male side, black men buying that on some Nat Turner shit too, what black men like to do is they like to believe that you can run game. Jason Black has talked about this, and he's right. You all believe that you can run game. You can run game on women with morality. You're dumb. You niggas are fucking stupid to believe that. So when this is why I don't use morality as a way of, as like as a foundation behind the talking points that I have, because that doesn't work. They know you know as much about this fucking book as they do, which is not a goddamn thing. So when you run, so they laughing at you when you try to run that game. That shit only works if you're basically using it in the same corrupt way they're using it. Which is basically, this is what we're saying on the surface, but behind the scenes, this is what it's really about. Which is why pastors get away with that shit so much. And dudes are always talking about, well, these women need to do the moral thing. That's why they like Kevin, because they think Kevin is beating morality into them. That's not what he's doing. And this is why another reason, this is an angle, not the only reason, but why dudes are so mad about Brittany Renner getting on a platform. You're providing a platform. You're providing a platform. You're giving him credibility. How could you? How could you? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Now, some of y'all are clout chasing, and some of y'all are doing that because y'all know y'all running game on these niggas, and y'all know it drives views, and y'all get some cash outs out of it. Okay, fine, whatever. You know. But for a lot of y'all audience members, if y'all really believe in that, y'all really believe it's a sense of betrayal. I've been listening to Kevin since he was 40,000 subscribers. Like, Kevin's been consistent. Y'all are crying. Go get some prune juice, have your period, and fucking go to sleep. Number one, and I said this on Benards' channel, and I was going to save it for doing a whole video on it myself. But number one, Brittany Renner has 5 million Instagram followers. She's a light-skinned bitch with a fat ass. How many of them do you think are black men? Like SWP used to say, Brittany Renner is that bitch on the wall for a lot of these teenage dudes. Or dudes in their 20s. Unfortunately. The digital wall. Kevin having an interview with her from a business standpoint alone basically allow, and see, this is also about restricting what black men can do too. Y'all don't have a problem with Kevin going on these females in order to be interviewed, but when he interviews people, he's giving them credibility. And that's the same thing them stupid bitches said about Tasha K. Oh, you're giving Kevin Samuels credibility. Kevin Samuels was on his way of passing Tasha K, and he has. Tasha K did that for business reasons because that gives credibility to her platform, just like how Kevin gives credibility to his platform. And by the way, I'm gonna keep it 100. Fresh and Fit literally has built their channel really around the concept of having bitches on there. That's literally Fresh and Fit's playbook. So if anybody should be even though technically it's not a playbook that you can own, if anybody should be upset, it should be Fresh and Fit. Because now Kevin has really established himself as a viable competitor to them. Which they kind of fucked up because Kevin might have more likely let them have these type of interviews as their turf. But because Myron doesn't know to shut the fuck up, you know, now I doubt they're gonna catch him. I doubt they're gonna catch even though they're blowing up still. I doubt they're gonna catch Kevin, because if Kevin told you all early, like, and he told you all he was going to start doing more interviews. He told you that. And part of why I saw a couple of snippets of the interview, but I have not seen like it from front to back. I haven't seen more than like 10 minutes of it. The reason why Kevin talks to these women the way that he talks to them, because he did the same thing with Karazin when Karazin called in. It is because Kevin is basically establishing himself like, you got to come at it fair. It's the same shit O'Shea does. It's a reason you do that because it's the same reason why Jason Black has a very hard time getting people to come to him to interview. It's actually low key why when Jason Black tried to do something similar, like when it's not really what Kevin was doing, it's not really what Fred. I'm gonna tell you something. There's a reason why Jason Black has a particular anger towards Kevin Samuels and Fresh and Fit. I'm gonna say it. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. It's because Jason Black failed in doing what they did. Jason Black tried to do a situation where he could bring on Instagram folks and celebrities and shit. He was doing that when he was interviewing them OnlyFans bitches. Jason Black is a good interviewer, but the problem is Jason Black's reputation fucked him up. Jason Black has his reputation and he can't really shake it. Not to even mention the fact that people are not really trying to. Yeah, there's a lot of things there. It's not his ability to interview. Because I think he's just as good of an interviewer as Kevin. And maybe even better. But it's his reputation. And when you see that Kevin blew up doing something similar to what he was trying to do, and then BK Jason Black has done his after hours. That's what's going on with that shit. And you not go. I don't give a fuck. You not go fool me. With that, I know what that is because see nobody wants to talk about that because see people don't like to pay attention to people's L's, and that's why Tommy Sotomayor low key don't like Kevin either. That's really what's going on there. But the thing about it is these females have access to these guys. Not only these guys, but as you see that going on, there may be other dudes that want to give their side of the story. Somebody said, well, why haven't Kevin interviewed PJ Tucker? Because PJ Washington plays in the fucking NBA, motherfucker. He doesn't have time to be doing interviews like that. What the fuck is he going to be doing interviews going back and forth with his baby mama for? I don't even know why anybody asked that. Not somebody asked that on Benards shit. So at the end of the day, he said he was going to start doing interviews and diversifying the way he approaches his content because at the end of the day, you can only do so many fucking phone calls with bitches telling on themselves. He said that. And this is a step in that direction. And y'all are, oh my God, it's a 304. It's this. The edict of our space is to create as much direct communication with black males in the United States as possible. That is our edict. Brittany Renner has 5 million subscribers, and you're not going to tell me there is not hundreds of thousands of those folks that are black men. If you follow, I'm not saying they support Brittany Renner and they may follow her because he got a fat ass. But if they saw Brittany Renner had an interview, let's say, okay, let's see what this dumb bitch says when somebody actually talks to her. And they may check it out, which is why that video is popping up a little bit higher than what his normal videos are. And it's really popping up higher than what he's been trending in the last 2 months. That's what it is. And why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you get into the no jumper shit? When you think about it, this is the first, I don't talk to Kevin. I don't know Kevin like that. I know him like you are from an audience standpoint. I've been on panels with him a couple of times, a few times, and he knows who I am. But at the same time, I'm a marketer, so I can make educated guesses. So, and he agreed at least with what I was saying when I was saying it on Benard. So that tells me I'm on the right track. The thing is, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, step one was him going on these interviews, seeing what the process was like from a sit down standpoint. And he did that. No jumper, Joe Button, Tasha K. He did his kind of reorganization a little bit of his situation. The first interview he did was Jenny Babas. And that was a little awkward. That was the first time. This is the second one he's done. And this gives him credibility because unfortunately, people are looking at social media clout as credibility. So if you say, wow, she's got 5 million and he was able to get her, and then how the interaction went down, now a lot of these females that are high influencers, they're going to feel like they're going to get a fair shake. It's not going to be a hit job. It's not going to be, you about all that shit all them bitches keep saying about Kevin. Well, when you actually pull up, when he actually talks to a lot of these women at that level, and it's not that he won't disagree when he's be disagreeing, but he's going to do it in the spirit of a conversation. Exactly, Dar. But people don't understand that. People don't understand that because they thinking they playing checkers. Yeah, what's up, E Black? So at the and it's not, and the conversation that Kevin's having is not the exact conversation the Lapeef Network is having. It's not. What they're basically doing is basically creating an audience of black men and black women, low key catering to black women. This is why it always go, we don't want to use language. It's how you say it. Kevin, you know Kevin ain't know how you say it, nigga. That's why they always go back to that bullshit. It's how you say it. But the thing is, the thing with Britney, and see, here's another thing. This is where because remember, Britney was on DJ Academics' joint before Kevin. It wasn't like Kevin was the first person to launch her into those interviews. Britney has done those interviews. She already has 5 million followers on Instagram alone. You already have blogs talking about her. The fuck you talk like? It ain't like Kevin's a gatekeeper. Kevin ain't taking no chick that's like 50,000 and rail gunning them up to 1 million. You say, I like the business. But the problem is Jason Black kind of needs to shut the fuck up always hating on other people. He is hating. He is hating. And I know why. I know why. Folks forget people's L, just like when Tariq Nasheed tried to do that more us. And I said it before. I said he shouldn't have did it as an app. He should have did it as a social media website. So it could be like something that could potentially compete with World Star. He wanted to make it an app. He should have came back to the app later on. But whatever. I dropped the link. See what y'all got to say. But yeah. So all these people talking about you giving 304s attention. I can't stand niggas that say that bullshit. These bitches got attention, whether they getting it from you or getting it from somebody else. These bitches are not starved of attention. I don't understand why y'all think if y'all don't pay them no attention, that means the shit just ain't gonna happen. Even Red Supreme was on some, man, y'all are cheating the game. And not on Kevin, but saying y'all are giving y'all are just simping and simping. And like, is it simping is like the only, you got to go deeper than just saying simping. You got to go deeper than that. Yeah, what's up?
What's going on, Edward? Shout out to you.
Yeah, not much. I am just talking shit late on a Monday night.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, man, I've been watching you on the Benards panels the last few mornings, man, especially about this Brittany Renner thing, man. You've been whooping ass up there, man. So proper respect on that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to bring common sense to the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, definitely. It's funny you mention that Jason Black thing, man, because I've always noticed that, man, especially as of late. He just seems super hyper focused on the manosphere and Kevin, like for sure. Like a guy called in to ask about Kevin like last Friday, and man, he went crazy.
Don't do that. Hey yo, there's a thing called that you don't if Dragon Ball Z, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like you don't press the Goku button.
Oh yeah,
with Vegeta. That's I'm gonna every time I reference Jason Black, I'm gonna start pulling that. You press because remember what he did with his son. Maybe we should get Goku punch his son right in the fucking stomach. It's like you press the Goku button. You don't do that.
dude.
But there, I would love that clip. I love that clip. What did he say? Like he say
He went crazy, man. It was like it was like a 10-minute rant, man. Because the guy called in, he was like, the guy basically said to him, he was like, well, hey, why can't I enjoy you both? That's what he said to Jason, right? Because Jason had like an open free form or whatever Friday.
I heard about. I said, I knew.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew something was gonna come of that. I was like, nigga, you don't want to.
And the guy was like, why can't I enjoy both? He was like, I just enjoy watching Kevin just for entertainment. And man, Jason went crazy. Yeah.
Like the fact that you can't even articulate what he did just tells me how crazy it must have been. Like, cause I can understand like if cause Jason usually he is a very aggressive, but it's a controlled aggression.
Yeah.
Kind of like a fucking defensive coordinator likes to blitz a lot. It's still controlled. It's still a method. But and again, so you think I'm incorrect as far as my assessment as to why that is, as far as the competitor standpoint? Because if you've listened to Jason Black for a while, you remember when he was talking about trying to do something. This was pre-business, where he was doing something similar, not to how Kevin did it, but kind of like similar. Because this is what he would talk about, like DJ Vlad and shit. How people need to get in there. So this is pre-Kevin doing what Kevin did. right?
Right.
This is pre Fresh and Fit too, pre Fresh and
Yeah.
Fit blowing up, and
Right.
because you remember Fresh and Fit is always a target as well.
Right.
You
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah, they're a big target, fresh and fit too. That's a good point.
yeah, shout out to Jason Hales for the $10 super chat. Edward, thank you for showing up to work today. And shout out to Wayman Brown. Been enjoying your commentary since 18 Rumble days. Oh, I appreciate that,
Sunday
Wayman
Rumble.
Brown. Yeah, the Rumble is not always my best showing because I just don't try to engage with that level of niggatry. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, it's like, yo, I'm not, no. But anyway, yeah. So it's yeah, and I'm not. Look, I like Jason. I've gotten away from listening. First of all, with the white supremacy stuff, I know about it long enough. Usually, if I don't even listen to Professor Black Truth like that, although a lot of y'all should, I
Yeah.
actually would prefer to listen to Professor Black Truth than Jason. Because Jason, Professor Black Truth keeps it on what it needs to be kept to, and
Right.
then you listen to him at 1.5 playback speed. You can bang his stuff out in like 30, 25 minutes
Right.
versus Jason's stuff could go on for like 4 hours. Now I do like how Jason's done with his business with the slides and stuff like that, and I have looked into some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a competitor.
Yeah.
That's all it is. They see them as competitors, and see
Right.
people need to understand that you can like Jason Black, but you got to understand that element too, because at the end of the day, man, I mean, YouTube people are subscribed to multiple channels. People are gonna
Yeah.
enjoy multiple people,
Yeah.
and Kevin is not saying stuff that's diametrically different than what Jason is really saying. When it comes to niggas
Yes.
need to get on they square to enforce the standards they want, that is what it is. And
Right.
the only different and that's why I tell people I like the Jason Black don't like Kevin, because when he says the same thing, like when he gives the same answer when women call him, now you know it ain't because it's just a hive mind, it's just because that's what it is.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. 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 Yeah, man. Let me ask you this though. This is
I got to get that clip, but I bet you he put that shit on Patreon.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't even went back over there.
I'm about to go look at it right now so I can download it. But I'm gonna let you say, and then I'll get E Black in here. But what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, man. I think it's definitely a competition thing among them. I know he's been around a lot longer than Kevin and stuff too. And with the business, I mean, as good as that show is, I'm surprised it doesn't have more subscribers. But
I'm annoyed. The biggest thing I'm annoyed. Yeah, he did take it down. Yeah,
okay,
I knew he would. I knew he would. And see, that's something that's uncharacteristic of Jason Black too. Is taking videos down like that. But every time Kevin's around, he want to take some shit down. And that just goes to show you, it is what it is. And people think Jason is infallible. No, he's not. You go look at that stream with Zoe went at him really hard. And he's made it very clear. And I like Jason Black, but I'm not, call it what it is. The thing that disappoints, I'm gonna get E Black in a second. The thing that disappoints me the most about Jason Black is somebody that's listened to him as long as I have, hearing him talk about marketing, talk about WWF and try to translate into marketing stuff, and like things. He has a lot of knowledge, but the thing but on this issue, and this is like the biggest thing. Only Jason Black, all he had to do was keep his mouth shut. Like Jason Black would have gained so many subscribers. I'm not saying he had to get in line under Kevin, but Kevin actually had low key respect for Jason Black until Jason Black started talking shit. A lot of people in the Black manosphere did. A lot of his people are from us really actively. Like Jason Black has gotten a lot of free promotion. The problem is a lot of people don't like his personality, which is why he can't hold. He either holds people really, really strong, or he doesn't, or he repulses people. He's kind of, Love Dorsey is kind of like that, but because Love Dorsey's a bitch, and you got the sexual component to it, which is where the cam up stuff comes to it. And camming up, look, Jason Black has raised almost $1 million about camming up. So yes, we understand that camming up will help you accelerate, but it doesn't make it impossible, because Pink Book doesn't cam up. There's a lot of people. So yes, I'm not saying it doesn't help. What I'm saying is it's not absolutely required. But with that being said, but put him in the same category as Karis and Rebecca Lynn Pope, all these females that this dude Jason Black would have just like the Saint in the Center. Jason Black would have been in position to like get so much of that other traffic. They call it they call it opposite not oppositional programming. Like when you have the main movie that's coming out, like let's say a Marvel movie, and
Yeah.
then you have another movie that's coming out, it's like counter programming. And the counter doesn't often mean that it's like anti that other thing. It just means that this is what other people, this is going to be the highest thing that the other people might be able to see if they don't want to see the initial thing. And there's certain people that's going to lax on to Jason Black more because a lot of dudes see Jason Black as more of a and more in alignment with their idea of what ideals is what masculinity is. So he would have benefited like that off a default, even if he had criticisms here or there. And remember, the first time he addressed Kevin, he actually complimented Kevin as far as his background work, as far as his production stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that because he went
Okay.
and talked all that shit about Donovan Sharp and talked that shit about Coach Greg Adams
Yeah.
and Fresh and Fit. Then he
Right.
did a separate thing on Kevin. I also remember what he did like 4 streams back to back to back in the same day with Kevin. So clearly it's something that's personal there with
Yeah.
Jason. It's not, and people can say what the fuck they want to say, but
Yeah.
I've listened to him long enough to know. And then when you go all the way back to the fact that when Jason was with Tommy Sotomayor, Jason's a very competitive person. It is what it is. But at this point, it's I just don't understand how you don't see somebody blowing up like that and you say, okay, I'm in one of the best positions to benefit from that. So
Right.
let me just keep my mouth shut regardless of how I feel. And that just goes to show you the lack of emotional control that even some of the best of us can have on some Highlander. That's Highlander. That's the Highlander syndrome personified.
Highlander.
It,
You took it back with that.
it
Yeah.
is. It's Highlander. It's the what they call it, the Luciferian complex. It's all that shit personified because Tommy did the same exact shit. And he not only did it with Kevin, he did it with Kwame Brown. Tommy just does it with everybody because that's who he is. Versus, so anyway.
Yeah. Kwame. I mean, Tommy just gonna go at everybody. Facts.
Yeah, but a lot of that is off that jealous shit too. It really is. And it is what it is. But anyway, what's up, E Black?
What's going on, my guy?
And nothing
Black.
much, you know how it is.
Yeah, man, man, everything you're saying is exactly what I've been saying from months ago, man. I've been trying to tell people, y'all got to get with the program, man. Y'all gonna have to use the women to your benefit. Stop trying to control the narrative and change the actual world that you living in and deal with the world that you got.
That's not exactly what I'm saying, E Black, though. The difference, like, I hear what you're saying, but the difference is because, see, some dudes will hear that, and because there's dudes that used to be in this space where they'll say that we should push up. I know that's not what you're saying, but I'm saying here that we should push up black women because black women are educated, kicking ass, and taking names. It's actually not true. It's not true in the numbers that they like to say, but they'll go on to that like rhetoric. The thing is, from Kevin's perspective, it's a business move. From everybody else's point, you don't have to like. First of all, if you really specifically look at Brittany Renner, like I said before, Brittany Renner is specific on who she's talking about. She was talking about athletes and the celebrity culture. That's who she was talking about. She wasn't really saying all black men are this. See, people forget that shit. People forget also she don't necessarily only date black men, so people forget all of that. They want to just make her this proxy for like all the other shit they deal with. Versus when you deal with women, like you've been on the Lapeef Group network.
Yeah.
You've had some good runs. You've had the runs where they disagree with you. But the thing about it is, the manosphere doesn't have a problem with talking to women for the most part. The problem is women want to be talked to on their terms. See, Kevin didn't go on that thing that Kevin did with Brittany Renner. He did not go in there and then it was I'm just gonna go along with everything you say. Now he didn't just outright disagree, but he went deeper into some things and then in order to draw certain things out. Jessica X is actually really good at doing that with niggas if you ain't paying attention. And it became an actual conversation. What a lot of folks try to do, whether it's on the Lapeef network or on some of these satellite channels, it's on them. And I do that because that's the most noticeable example right now, is the women are trying to enforce. They're trying to enforce shit on the men. And then they do it by always creating these like questions of basic shit that everybody should understand. Kay is like the worst about it, but I actually saw where Lauren did it on her platform. They want to do it with body count. They want to do it with weight. Lauren
Facts.
and them want to do it. Like I could pull up a video of Lauren stuff right now. In fact, I'm gonna do that shit because that shit really pissed me off.
I
Just so
think I
y'all,
might have seen that too.
just so
Go
y'all
ahead,
can
pull it up,
understand
Edward.
what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, pull it up,
Um,
Edward.
but that's different. Like Kevin was in the driver's seat of what he was talking about versus when you're dealing with these families, women, they want you to come to their shit. That's what that is. If that makes any sense. So what do you think about what I just said?
Well, what you're saying is still what I'm technically saying is that no matter what the women want, you exert your position. What Kevin did was what exactly he's doing. He's supposed to do. He's supposed to exert his position as the lead man and make use of the female that he has in front of him for his benefit. So I don't understand. I get. I don't know. What are you trying to say that he's supposed to belligerent her?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
And the fact you're perceiving it that way, part of inserting your understand that most of the position being inserted happened before that interview even started. See, the problem is dudes just can't walk into stuff inserting your position. There is self-control, which is discipline. There's the ability to control another person, which is influence. There's environmental control, which is the environment around you. If you control 2 out of 3, you can usually control the other one. If you can have overwhelming control over one of the things, you usually can greatly influence the other two, like you're controlling it. But that's kind of a false control. But if you can control 2 out of those 3, you can the third one, no matter what that is, generally you can control that too, just by default of the other two. And the thing about it is people always make it like you're either going along with what the bitch says or you're being belligerent to the bitch. And here's the truth. There's sometimes where being belligerent is a necessary thing. But I also say just walk away from the conversation and don't even have a fucking conversation. Because this is why when black men talk about leaving, or when black men talk about, dating out and shit, you don't ever hear black women saying, well, if you can find a better man, if you can find a better man than me, go do it. It's always this, you're weak, you're this, you're shamed for doing that, because at the end of the day, they don't have control over that. Men, the greatest control men have is the power of choice. And when men exercise that choice, women really have no ability to counter that, which is why the shaming happens.
So what you're saying is that Kevin basically played softball when he could have been playing hardball
No, Kevin,
baseball.
there's multiple, like in that situation, understand that if
He was playing.
there's
But
a reason,
I
there's a
said
reason.
softball for a reason because it is a female general
Well,
sport.
and then remember, I forgot Kevin interviewed Blue Jasmine as well. People
Yeah,
forgot
yeah,
about that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
which is so Kevin is a very, would you consider Kevin, does Kevin strike you as a man that is prepared?
Oh, eminently and
Yeah.
always.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So that's a part of that. Number one, that is a part of that self-control part that I'm talking about. And what you're really describing, E Black, is walking into situations not prepared for what you're dealing with. And this is one of the things I was saying with Freeman, like privately, when we were talking about like hostile environments or dealing with hostile situations. What was that chick that he was talking to that was on I think on the Black Ink crew, that reality?
Hanifa?
No,
It
Tommy Lauren,
Yes.
Oh,
You think he
yeah,
wasn't? You think he
Tommy
wasn't?
Lee.
Oh,
Tommy Lee.
You think he wasn't
Tommy Lee.
prepared? You think he wasn't prepared for that? Even if that caught him off guard, he was still prepared for that archetype. Because there's things about Kevin that is not really out. They like certain people in the know knows about Kevin as far as his ability to really understand. And if you knew it about him, it makes sense as far as how you can deal with women. But I'm not gonna put that out there unless he makes that official. Um, but there's a reason why he always says my girls, or when I was talking to these people, my girls this, and there's a reason why they say that. That's as far as I'm gonna go with that. And there's a reason why that Tommy Lauren thing worked out. There's a reason why Stormy Wellington, this is a chick that's multi-million dollars.
Yeah.
She, because he didn't give her, she didn't give her a reason. He said because she tried to push in there, oh well, I'm my own woman. I'm independent. I'm this, that, and the third. And keep in mind, all these motherfuckers in Atlanta. Remember that. All these motherfuckers in Atlanta, including Stormy Wellington. And he said, you got your own money, but what about the women that don't? You know, what about this and that? You know, like he acknowledged what she was saying, and it was factual. So Kevin is not out here trying to be. He can be belligerent if he wants to, but certain people he can strategically not do that. But at the same time, there's different things you're trying to get out, and it becomes you trying to cater. There's a fine line between getting what you need out of them and you being agreeable for these females for the sake of being agreeable. And too many guys are agreeable for the sake of being agreeable. First of all, Kevin go to the Lepeep Network. They don't pull that bullshit on him. They don't pull
No,
that bullshit on the lead attorney like that either, really. They
yeah,
tried, yeah. So the bullshit that they would say on their own, they would not say in his presence. That should tell you a lot about how right that is.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Let me just jump in for a quick second. Hey, E Black, I seen you on the Peep Network, man. Shout out to you. But yeah, I noticed a distinct difference whenever TLA or Kevin goes on the Peep Network versus any other guy that appears on there to talk. There's a distinct difference. I noticed it instantly. Great point, Edward.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, like I say, the imagery of debate and the imagery of just having people in front of each other. You have to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like a pimp walking down the street, he has to play the game. He has to look the part. You can't sit here and so when I see Kevin with Brittany, and I'm like, it's just part of the game. He's just attracting more of the situation. He's asserting himself in a position that is not necessarily exposing himself to the negativity of Brittany's arm of detractors. Like nobody's gonna unsubscribe to Britney because of Kevin. You get what I mean? Like they're gonna more than likely subscribe. They're more than likely gonna give him a pass. They're gonna be more attracted to his message based on his interaction.
Yeah, I agree with that, and
Yeah,
and that's the point. And the goal is to maximize networking as many black men as possible. And remember, Kevin has 1 million social media subscribers, not social media, my bad. Instagram subscribers. So you have that too. So everybody's looking at and nobody's talking about the fact that Kevin interviewed Blue Jasmine before. Like they're not bringing that into context. Y'all just heard that here. So when you
Right.
look
That's
at
weird.
and all of these people, by the way, they had interviews with other places before they got to Kevin. So all this platform bullshit is bullshit because Kevin's not introducing these people to the dance. They're already there. Blue Jasmine was already there. Blue Jasmine was interviewed by a lot of different people before she got to Kevin, by the way. So Kevin is not like starting these trends and then they take that and start getting interviewed by everybody else. Kevin is usually one of the last ones on the shop. People forget, even before Blue Jasmine in the Manosphere, she was on No Jumper and all that, which is a lot bigger than even the bigger Manosphere platforms. So a lot of people are in their feelings when they talk about that shit and they try to manipulate is this what I hate that is this what we stand for bullshit. Because that's a way of trying to manipulate people and doing what you want to do and never having to really have an argument. I see you, Morpheus. Give me a second. But go ahead, Freeman, and before I play this, and yeah.
Well, no, man. The whole war comment was not. That's not physical, right? That is more
But you know how
ideological.
people would try to play it.
Yeah, I understand. I do. It's more because I was on like Oc Nation's panel, right? And I started talking about just cut welfare. And some one of Bag Lady G's acolytes tried to come at me at the comments, and I'm telling you, she was freaking out. And I'll be honest, I don't really care at this point. They're destroying black boys. So if we snatch any type of benefits reduction, the whole thing of they're going to use their kids as a human shield to keep getting their cash. And I'm like, no, you're going to do what poor anybody else does. You're going to move to Eagle Grove, Iowa, and work at the meatpacking plant or Smithville, Virginia, or wherever, like anybody else. I'm tired of this lace front subsidy. You know what I mean? I can't have it anymore. I just cannot have it because they're doing too much damage. I mean, and it's not for quote unquote to save the community. It's that they're destroying black boys. You know what I'm saying? And it's everywhere. And I don't know from a personal standpoint. It's just I remembered, my little cousin graduated high school with no better than an 8th grade education because I showed up at his class. And my other cousin told me, oh, he's having issues, this and that. I showed up at his class. I was at his math class. And it's um, and I saw this coursework, and I knew that he was going to graduate high school with an 8th grade education, and I cannot take it anymore. There's no more of this. What are we going to do? We're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. You show up with a cookbook, you get in line, and that's how you move forward. Period. There's none of this we coming together. That's just deflection to continue the BFF. The BFF gets no quarter. You either fix yourself or it gets worse.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, yeah. People keep on wanting to, like, the issue is you either bring yourself in alignment with somebody that can be worked with, or you get replaced. And whether it's by a bitch of another race or intercultural, which is what I push, I say there's a reason why I want to push intercultural dating hard is because I want to prove how full of shit these people are, particularly these pro-blacks. Because if you push intercultural dating extremely hard, and what you find is these dudes start to say, oh, well, I need somebody of my culture. So it really ain't about colorism, featureism, and all that. It ain't really about that. Now these niggas find the word culture in their vocabulary. Nigga, I've never heard you use the term culture. I've never heard you have an actual conversation about culture. But when it comes to keeping that bitch, now y'all want to talk about culture. And when I say, okay, so what is it about black women culturally that you're trying to preserve that can only be done with an ADOS black woman? Go. They don't know. They don't know. They talk about
I know what it is.
hold on, a nigga talking about I can't teach Jessica X how to play spades. The nigga,
Yeah, I heard
the hood shit, the hood shit.
That's not what it.
They want a woman with nigga juice. They want a woman with nigga juice. That's what they want.
So now this is where Q and Obsidian, where we have an honest conversation about what are you really complaining about? Because you want that woman you have no way of enforcing that woman act right, but you want her to act right. And then you see Kevin is a blunt instrument, he said. And this is why it's important to say that black men want black women more than black women want black men, because black men are actively choosing to deal with this. Black men have actively ceded their ability to choose. And that is a part of regulating women's behavior. If you're supposed to self-improve so you can maximize your ability to choose women that you can work with and deal with. Again, if you're somebody you want to keep it black, keep it black. I don't say don't date African American women. I'm saying you need to augment your choice selection. So if you find that, you get that. If you don't, you don't. Then we're talking about, we're not even talking about marriage. We're talking about sexual access now too. So y'all, these niggas feel guilty putting their dick in another bitch, even if they're not, even if they're even if they're in the diaspora. That is Stockholm syndrome. Like, and that makes no logical sense, because even dudes, like, what do most families tell people? At the end of the day, you need to get a good fill in the blank girl, good Jewish girl, good Italian girl, good white girl, good whatever. Who you fucking, as long as you ain't having kids with them, is really not of my concern. That's the deal. It's who, obviously we're talking about heterosexual context, but the deal is when you come back to get married, that's when we have expectations on what that needs to be. That's any group. This is why you got Arabs and all these people where they'll fuck with black women, but they tend to not bring them home because that's against the rules. Or whatever race, unless it's exceptions, like Asians, white men are exceptions. You get what I'm saying? So that's the rule. But see, with black people, we don't even go to that. We go to who you're having sex with. And I know this is true because when you look at dudes like Michael Jordan, Robert Smith, whoever, these are dudes that had kids with black women, and then the black women got paid out. They still looked at it as like they always was chasing non-black pussy. Even Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant dated Brandy. Brandy wanted Mace. So he got with who he got with. Now everybody's mad. And the sad part about it is when you look at like what Ray J has been able to do, kudos to Ray J. When you look at, Brand, like technically that would have been a very strong family. But nobody sat Brandy down and said, you stupid bitch. Do you know who the fuck that is? And this is you want to get with the nigga like that don't know if you want to be a rapper or a pastor? Like, see, people in other groups, they do that. In other groups, like, could you imagine somebody getting with Serge? Like, they do that. Same thing with like what's her name, Serge Ibaka, and what's the you know who I'm talking about? The fucking
Jerry Hilson.
Jerry Hilson. Families would say, "You dumb bitch. This is your last chance." And he's younger than you, and he really likes you. You need to deal with that shit. And then they end up being like Jada because they end up being bitter. And then the family is who's supposed to reinforce that and check that shit. You see that with up until Stephen Curry's mom divorced his husband. That's what she was doing with Aisha. The women are supposed to help enforce family cohesion. They help enforce that man's position and reaffirm it. But when you're on some renegade shit, you get what you get with like Will Smith's kids. You get what you get with Dwayne Wade with some of Dwayne Wade's kids. Because though that renegade shit, that's what that produces.
Yeah.
So look. For betting purposes, when does the Dwayne Wade pegging video drop?
Tomorrow.
I don't know. I mean, I know Gabrielle Union is 10 years older than Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is 35 because we're the same. We're close to the same age, or it's like 36, and so she's 46. So
that's Michael. You know what I'm saying? They say that's really a tranny. Y'all ain't heard that?
Who?
What's her name? His wife. They say that's really a tranny.
Who you talking about? Gabrielle Union? No.
Yeah. There's a whole video set talking about her hips too straight.
Whatever.
No, I mean it's Hollywood. I wouldn't be surprised, man.
No.
I ain't seen no kids.
So we're gonna play this real quick. Because I don't want y'all to get a feel for what I'm talking about. Because this is what I was wilding about the other day. I'm gonna play this kind of fast, so just deal with that. Get past this fluff. I'll slow it down when it's the important parts.
So Jonathan, if you don't take that mask off, I'm thinking you in a hospital. But you know what? That you bring up a good point though, because the pandemic saved a lot of the people out here. Okay, they gave them a whole bunch of outs. Okay, this mask covered up the teeth, the crusty lips, the stank breath, and the big nose.
Yeah, see,
not you, Jonathan, not you.
I was really like, dang, Lauren, you just...
I'm not going. First off, I'm not going in with Jonathan. That's my dude. That me and Jonathan is like this. I'm not.
See, Lauren, I just noticed. Look, Lauren, I noticed how those two brothers were hollering at you. You didn't tell me you was taken. I want to see how that works.
They were not hollering at me. They just gave me a compliment.
Girl, you know they was hollering.
Yeah, they were just simping. That's what they do. Talking to bitches over YouTube is some weak shit. I'm just gonna say that straight up.
Every chick video.
So let's talk about it.
Like y'all kill me with that. Talking to bitches over, and I'm 35, so I get the younger dudes. That's what y'all do. So it's different. It's slightly different. But if you're talking to bitches over the internet, like straight, like that, no.
Thank you, Lucky.
Yeah,
$1 holla girl, recognize. All right. What's up, Jacob? So here's my commentary. Okay, so first of all, congratulations again, Lauren, on your YouTube partnership.
Thank you.
That's super dope. So I'm very proud of you.
Speed this shit
I have several things I want to comment on here. So the first thing is the potential thing. Okay. Now I know TJ.
When you finish, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Huh?
You said, can you say something?
Oh, I was gonna say when you finish, can I say something real quick? I'll let you finish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, keep in mind, like I'm gonna do this. We're gonna have our commentary, and then we're probably gonna quick. This kind of caps it off because I ain't trying to turn this into a 3-4 hour thing. Just saying. Let's see.
TJ, but listen, I'm gonna keep saying the same thing. Okay. In this current market, women are not dating potential. Like I understand like the situation with your daughter. I think that's actually super dope. I think I've told you this before. I've listened to your daughter talk. She seems dope. Her man sounds dope. But in this market, women just, it's unfortunate, but like most women that we're encountering, they're looking for established men, including.
Let's keep it real. Women are only dating for potential when when they are sexually attracted. When they saying this dude can get the when this dude can get it, that's when they're dating for potential. When you hear women talking potential, it's because they like how that dude looks. That's why I call it genetic currency. Niggas that get the potential card are niggas that are 6 foot and up. You get what I'm saying. They're not lacking in the genetic currency. That's what I'm saying. Right. They like how they either that or they light skin. We'll throw that in. Like they are what these women want physically, and they're trying to make these women, these dudes into that. That's where that potential,
Or
and a lot of that potential is they're buying into a lot of these guys is bullshit. This is why when you hear women say that I like dudes that speak about ambition, there's a lot of dudes that talk. Jason Black is good about deciphering that. There's a lot of dudes that talk a good game but ain't doing shit. And
don't
women
forget about
go
don't
ahead.
forget about the body. Because I get that. I'm only 5'7", but I get that. But I work out a lot.
Well, yeah. Well, we that's in genetic currency as well. That's all. That's
Yeah.
all. Yep, that's in there too. I say height because we know if you tall, that alone can do it, and that's a universal
Oh yeah,
marker.
definitely.
That's kind of why I say that. And this is also why I say that if sexual access is your problem, one of the fastest ways of dealing with that is working out. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Tell Stephen Cole with the body thing, body game. Yep.
Including even women who are, not just
remember Derrick Jackson was potential. Now he was potential, he was able to rise to it, but he was potential. It was because I looked.
talking like older women. I think I can understand for like an older woman, to not just want a man that's gonna play around. You know what I'm saying? Or like a man who doesn't have his shit together. But I think, when you see college age young ladies, literally demanding 6 figures and pretty much like their peers age wise are invisible to them. Right, completely invisible to them, and they're just looking for 6-figure men. Some of these women are looking for millionaires. It's almost like they don't even realize how rare that is. They're not looking for potential, and so I think this also
Jonathan's pretty good. I haven't seen him fuck up yet.
Ties into why men who actually do have those resources are like, okay, well, we're clearly in demand, so this is the standards that I'm gonna have, right? And then those very same women will be upset that the man is, saying, this is my standard. These are my set of standards, because it's like, oh, these are, it's too harsh or it's too much. But what they don't realize is that, this man is in high demand because everyone from the college age girl to the older women are looking for the exact same man.
Because they're looking for a lifestyle. They're looking for a sponsor. They're looking for a bailout.
It's because the economy is bad. When the economy is bad, they look for that.
Yep, and then when the economy is good, and they still
it's genetic currency.
They're always looking for that.
Yeah, they are.
Hold on. Dark skinned niggas was good in the 90s, and the economy was tanking during that time.
No, it was doing pretty good. Clinton had a good economy.
In the early 90s. I'm talking about the early 90s.
But you're
dealing
with
about modern women, dude.
Yeah,
this
you're
is a
dealing
different
with
generation.
you're dealing with different women now. Like you're dealing with pre-2000 women.
Ain't no more Wesley Snipes out there.
Yeah, I'm talking early Wesley Snipes.
Like if you're broke and handsome, you might as well go with girls that have careers.
Well, hold on. We're not. First of all, let's be clear here. Dark skin masculinity is still in. But the thing is, a lot of these women talk about colorism because they have coloristic. Like we had an argument on another panel talking about light skin trumps height, and I'm like, ain't no 5'5", 5'6" nigga trumping no nigga that's 6 foot just off the strength of being light skinned. Now you want to add, that's the 80s. That's not today because today we got dark skin, we got dreads, we got gold. See, a lot of the hood look, the street look is not associated with light skin. Now, when you got dudes that can fit that look, then it's different. But that's not even worth bringing up to the extent because that's not even a big.
We're not even adding the tattoo game.
Yeah, so again, so make no mistake. When I said that really came from another panel, but this idea that like now that's bullshit, and we that's not. It's still, and it depends on who you dealing with. Now, if you're talking about like Hispanics or shit like that, and even then that's a little bit more, but even then that's not. It just depends. But I
would say the light skin thing is really the hair. Like pretty hair. It's really the hair. If you got that hair, that quote unquote good hair, you good. Like I got a homeboy, he dark skinned, he's half Filipino, but he looks black until he grows his hair out, and they're on him.
Yep, it is because I don't have the hair, but my youngest brother does. You're absolutely right. And that's on them. But let's go.
Right, and I think we can talk about how the world should be, but if we're talking about how the market is right now, it's sad, but the reality that people out here in the
keep in mind Atlanta
market right now are seeing is that most women are just they're not dating potential. The only cases where you're seeing potential is actually in the worst cases where they're becoming baby mamas for men who don't have their shit together or stuff like that. But I'm talking about like dating for serious committed relationships. You don't really see much of that. So that's kind of like my first thought on it.
Let me just ask. So just on you and your experience. So are you currently dating? Or are you currently seeking?
So first of all, he just gave his experience. Number one. Number two, his experience, he's in Atlanta. So basically, you already know how I feel about Atlanta. So my thing is, his experiences are relevant. The shit is either true in general or it's not true in general. But here we start. We're gonna go into experience because we want to basically create this narrative, and women gotta stop doing that. Let's go.
To wife, let's just say. So when you're doing that, what qualities are you looking?
Because if he said that he wasn't, so let's say he said, "I'm out here pumping and dumping." So they would have basically said, "Oh well, look at the type of women you dating. So of course they gonna be like this." But that isn't just. But every man ain't dating to get married. Every man, most men are dating to fuck.
Yep. Hey, Ed, let me add this on there because I have a lot of homeboys who go to Atlanta. In Atlanta, as long as you're a black straight man, every black straight man has what they call that new thing now, goldest penis, whatever the hell they call it. Because there's so many gays there. So you just being a straight black man, you in there, and they're aggressive out there.
I don't know. I mean, you know it if you got your shit together, maybe. But
Man. I mean, yeah, they're hard on for the guys shit together. But I know dudes don't got their shit together and they're killing it.
But well, I mean,
right. If I'm telling you, if you just a regular dude, right? You got it together. You're making maybe 75. You can write your ticket. The thing is, women know that. So when you do date, even if you meet a decent woman, she's gonna be like, dude, I'm gonna get pumped and dumped because guys know they can do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you make it 75 in the South, you in the top like 10. You really, that's the top 10%. You're probably in the top 12% at that point economically, and assuming you ain't got your looks ain't like dragging. Then yeah, so that's like, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but and then if you broke, but you a dude that you like Ti, you a dude that they like how you look, so that's I hear what you're saying, and then because you talk about the environment as far as, and a lot of these women are fucking bisexual men. They don't want to admit to that, but they are. If they dude looks good enough, they just don't. They just like to play like they don't know. Let's go.
Looking for
specifically. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm saying, what qualities are you looking for?
For me, number one is.
Wait, is there a delay?
There might be a delay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think I don't know if it's even you, but I'm saying, what are you looking for? And out of 10 women, like you're saying, none of them have nothing that you're looking for.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. But see, that's that. It's either all your fault or all my fault. Bullshit.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if out of 10 women, most of them are looking for a man that's established, and so
out of 10 women, 7.
Okay, if we're gonna talk about myself, like even for myself,
which is code for he wasn't talking about himself. She redirected it to him because that's a way of deflecting.
I try my best to not lead with my wallet, right? So I think certain things,
which you're not supposed to do,
you probably can't entirely hide them, right? And it's like I also don't want to hide anything from somebody, right?
Keep in mind, Jonathan strikes me as somebody that dates black women.
I try to not lead with my wallet or stuff like that, right? So naturally, a lot of women assume at my age that I probably am just like probably living paycheck to paycheck or whatever they assume, right? And so I get to experience what they think of me without really knowing what my financials are and stuff like that. I get to see a lot of that. I get to see the difference when I meet women in an environment where they can tell, okay, maybe he does have his shit together. So I get to even just the comparing and contrasting of those scenarios is very interesting to me, right? Like if it's women I'm meeting in, let's say, the professional world, right? Like in corporate America, where let's say they know, my role and they know other things I got going on. It's very different than women I just ran into at the store. You know what I'm saying? And so I think my overall point, unless you have a more specific question for me, I think my overall point is that I noticed that most women are looking for an establishment. That's essentially my main point there, is that they're looking for
and in a way, and see, this is what I'm talking about. Like the thing about it is we all see they're in Atlanta. We know this is true. Why are we playing this game like this is like we're in fucking like like fucking middle school where we like just exploring this shit. Jonathan's 27. TJ is like, I think in her 50s. Lauren is them, they at least in their late 20s. They're not, see, this is the shit that I'm talking about. And what happens is you have these endless conversations of this where it don't go nowhere. Everybody is on the ground and knows what time it is. Kevin's show is showing you what time it is. So I don't know why we're playing this game like this is some shit we're just figuring the fuck out. Like, that's the thing that kind of annoys me. And see, the thing why I don't get on these panels is because I would establish that. I'm like, so what are you saying? Are you saying that ain't what it is? I want to know what you think this environment is. Oh, well, they already said it. Well, dudes are looking for women with potential. That's bullshit. That's not true. How many women do you know are dating dudes that are not hitting most of the lists, or they like how they look for potential? Like, straight, that's what I would ask her.
You know why it never advances?
Huh?
Because neither people want to change their environment. I was trying to talk about this earlier when you were talking about the people that are like, you guys are complaining. The reason why those guys say that is because they don't want it to change. You understand? You notice most of the guys that say that are pookies.
Yeah, it's
right?
a shame. Yeah, it's a shaming tactic, and it's a way of being in the conversation without contributing to anything. So you just default to, and it's not just pookies that say that. You know, I've heard Black say that. To be fair, like, yo, niggas are complaining. And it's like,
well, what I'm saying is, if you're those types of guys, right? They say, oh, I got women online. What they do, if you pay attention to what they do, they cater to women, Black females' egos. You understand what I'm saying? The queen, all that nonsense.
Well, I disagree with that. I'm sorry.
But those guys that talk that, they always catering to the
well,
to
that's
their
what I'm
egos.
saying. There's different angles. There's different angles to that. They like, just like how when I used to say about the conservatives, you got the true believers and you got the people that are just hustling. There's different angles as to why dudes are doing that. Some of them doing it for money, some of them doing it clout, some of them doing it because it's easy access to pussy. So that's a part of their game. Some dudes really believe that shit and they're misguided. It's different reasons for that. But I'll let you respond, E. But one moment.
Now, I'm not saying that for me that's particularly an issue. I'm just saying that if we're looking at the overall market and you know what men have to deal with.
Remember, he said overall market again.
Then I think it's interesting to it's important to actually look at what that's like for men who are out here and why men when they decide.
This is a perfect example of a time unless you're somebody. This is why I used to say SWP is like 101 for the manosphere. And you might as well listen to him. This is what I would call a time wasting conversation. Because basically everybody knows what the fucking deal is, but we're going to pretend we don't just to have this conversation and pretend something is happening. And there's a lot of people, and this in the mainstream does this, except dudes just don't get to participate. And when they do, they sound not like Jonathan, but they'll sound a lot more simple than Jonathan because it creates this aura of a conversation like there's not a problem that's urgent. And the problem is not really with the men, it's really the women that are complaining about it because they're talking about they can't get the outcomes they want. See, dudes are anyway. Let's go.
I had to say, okay, I'm going to just focus on getting to the bag, and then they get that bag. That's why they'll come out and have some of the standards that some women may find like, yo, this is too much.
So I'm saying about you specifically because
see exactly what did I say?
Typically, if you're looking for one thing, like it doesn't get past a phone number or text. Like let's say you got a number based on those general we're modern day. So before you go on an actual first date, there is some.
She's not listening. He said that when he walks up to people in stores and when he's interacting with people, he is not talking. So he's talking about a spot on conversation that is had there. He is not talking, and maybe I haven't heard the part before, but I played it when Jonathan first came up. He's not talking about getting on a date and this is what they're doing. She's moving the goalpost. Am I the only one that sees that?
Of course, that's what they do.
Yeah, I see that. I definitely.
Okay, so Black, I'm not trying to act like you the odd man out, but you gonna, if your thought doesn't coincide with like the manosphere, you don't give a fuck about presenting it, right? That's what I mean. Not trying to say you're kind of like serving. You're what they call it, the those people they call like this, like an inspector that's not a part of the company. To make sure quality control.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I want to be clear about that. So you even see that's what okay, just so it's not just me,
sort of conversation. So I'm saying in the midst of that conversation, shouldn't something based on you being the male, you know what you're wanting, there are specific things you're asking her to see if she's even worth the first date, right? So I'm saying like, what are you looking?
Exactly, which is why he doesn't lead it with his money. He said that. Even without asking that, this is that listening to talk. He communicated all of that already. I clearly see the difference between when women meet me in corporate America or they know what I have. And I've seen that same thing with my title and stuff like that. They know what I do versus women that don't, and how they react. And you see, Jonathan has a hoodie on. He looks like he could be a very casual dresser, right? Like, and we all can be like that. And there is a difference. And and by the way, Glennon Cameron said that he don't lead with his money, but then again, Glennon don't date black women, so he dates
He
white.
didn't say that. He didn't say the answer she wanted to hear. That's all.
No, yeah, and she's reaffirming it. And I'm just pointing this out.
Looking forward to where you getting to the point where you're like, these women want these type of men. Do these women look aesthetically high maintenance, or do they look like average?
So obviously she's playing. See, this is this is what Game Changer was accusing Obsidian of doing. So what she's saying is she's trying to play it. The problem is the women you looking for. Well, first of all, when you say high maintenance, are you talking about they're attractive? Is that what you're saying? Because Lucky Marie, we can all agree, is an attractive sister. This is not saying nothing about the other ones. But I'm saying she doesn't particularly look high maintenance. So when you draw the dichotomy between they either high maintenance, aka attractive, or they are average, meaning they're not above average in looks. You see, when that's that bullshit right there.
You know how you know it's more bullshit, because everyone knows black men have the widest range of women that we will date.
Exactly.
Okay? And they know it too, because that's why they feel like they don't need to lose weight, because they know there's dudes out there that'll date fat chicks and walk with them in public.
See, and that's why I talk about consequences, man. When men that black women think or feel they should have access to show up at brunch with, Becky, Marisol, and Mylene, they are going to be salty. It's going to ruin their whole day.
And that's another thing when they say like, oh, well, maybe you need to pick better. But see, if you don't get picked, if your group ain't getting picked, now you mad, which is why there's a shaming word for every standard that black men have. So we talk about that choose better shit, but now you got to talk about the statistics. So we know what the stats are. Let's go.
Everyday girl next door type of women.
I date girl next door type of women. But see, now you're putting a stereotype on what these dudes are talking about because you want to deflect. You want to deflect from what the stats are. We know what the stats are.
That matters too.
No, you're right. You're right. It's a mixture. I mean, there's a part of this that has to do with the fact that I'm in Atlanta.
And this is what I would have asked her. Would you consider yourself high maintenance? That's what I asked her directly. Would you consider yourself that? Well, no, exactly. So we know that you can be an attractive woman, which is a low-key compliment I give her. You can be, without saying it, you can be an attractive woman and not be high maintenance. So, like, come on, man.
But in Atlanta, we have a lot of, there's a big part of that. You have a lot of these, not to stereotype them, but
these bitches, these Real Housewife wannabe bitches. I'll say it. Go ahead, Jonathan.
You have a lot of, yes, you do have. Look, you do have a lot of high maintenance women.
These hoes that they think because they've been at a party with a fucking third string fucking football player that they somebody.
Yeah, they just they get.
Yeah, go.
And the deeper you get into certain circles, the more of those types of women you will encounter. So that is a big part of it. You're correct, but
it ain't a whole bunch of girl next door black women. I trust me, that's my type. I can tell you.
I guess okay.
They ain't in Atlanta either. Shit, that
no way.
Because I don't want to seem like I'm going around the question.
Now you won't say that. You won't say them niggas that are finding girl next door bitches.
Not in Atlanta, they not.
Yeah, that shit.
It's redhead central.
Question I'm happy to answer because I feel like
because in order to be a girl next door shit, weave is a disqualifier.
Facts. Get them.
Yep. And lashes. Don't forget the lashes.
Yeah, that. When you talk about girl next door, this chick low key may could be a girl next door. She's a girl next door.
The earrings cut it off.
For Cali, look for Cali, yes. For Cali, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Cali, so for real.
Yeah.
For Cali.
Lucky's actually from I think Las Vegas.
Yeah,
and Lauren.
No. She is from the crib. She is from straight Cali. She might live in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, which just means she's smart because cost of living. So, because you can still have access to California, shit. There's a reason why Phoenix is the fifth
5
largest
hours
city
to
in the
Vegas.
United States. Yeah, there's a reason why Phoenix is the fifth largest city in the United States. Now, remember, 5 hours is driving, so we already know it ain't nothing but a hop in the plane.
Let's go ahead, TJ.
I have a question because we've kind of talked about it before, on my channel. So I guess,
and I'm not trying to shit on Lauren. I'm just commenting on what I'm commenting on right now.
My question would be, because I think you've mentioned that the difficulty that this dating environment has, particularly in Atlanta, and you also mentioned that you've been other places. So my question would be, what would you propose to remedy it? Because I'm kind of like with Lucky again, when you're talking to the women on the phone, I'm assuming they're
see, and this is, you notice how they're not listening to what the fuck he is saying. Like the conversation, like they are continuing their line of questioning, and what he is saying is not in alignment with that. Anyway, the solution is black men need to self-improve and be very rude and open up their options. Your greatest power is your power of choice.
They want us to level up, but don't open our options.
Yeah, we understand that. And you would self-improve for the perspective of, so I would say to Jonathan straight up, what type of women do you date? I wouldn't even say, do you only date black women? I'll keep it open-ended. And if he gives me an opinion he's only dating black women, have you looked at dating women maybe in the diaspora in Atlanta? Like, have you looked at other cultures? And then I eventually say, if you Latin women, it ain't just black women. And I would say that straight up. And then they're going to get mad. But I'm going to say, well, that is a solution. That's not a solution, but you can only have the solutions we want you to have. Then it's not an honest question with the solution. And they're doing it by keeping the line of questioning focused. Like it doesn't matter what he says, they're still going to be on script.
It is the best solution for us, because look at every other race of men, white men, whatever. They all date out when they want to. No one says anything. None of their women ever say anything. Look how many white men are with Asian women.
I want you to notice how they're on the same page with this. So when TJ talks about the what I didn't know stuff, I'm like, well, people are actively doing this today. But let's go.
Telephone conversation. I'm just using you as an example, or maybe
this is where getting to what kind of annoyed me.
Well, you guys, are they getting to find out what kind of women they are even before
these niggas are not talking to these bitches? They're texting them. They're texting them in DMs. The younger dudes are not on the phone like that. They're not. Phone. I mean, I got my middle brother's 30, my youngest brother's 25, so he's in between Jonathan's age, and so Jonathan's closer to my youngest brother's age. He's more mature than my younger brother's not immature, but he's more mature than that. But my brother, I know what these tenure shit.
How to even determine if they want to have a date with them, to know, okay, if they are superficial.
Because a lot of these hoes are flaky. So you sitting there spending all this time talking to these chicks, they're flaky. You spend an hour or 30 minutes talking to a female, and then she flake on you. Ain't nobody doing that.
Are they very surface level, or do you just meet them and they approach
you? You see how they keep on talking about what part of most of these bitches are superficial do you not understand? And you're dealing with Atlanta. Atlanta is an extremely hyper super, even the church environment is superficial as hell.
Yeah.
You got Black Hollywood down there. You got social media. What are we talking about? Why are you all talking like y'all don't know?
Most black women are superficial if you keep it a buck.
Yeah, but you're dealing with a hyper superficial zone in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I know that off the bat.
They really asking these questions like they don't already know the answer. This is some fucking interrogation shit.
So you're saying, is there an initial?
And no, this nigga's in the first 48 for
I'll say this though, Edward, to be fair, TJ is really from the old school, man. So I'm still not gonna give her a pass on this.
No, TJ brings it back. I'm just giving you the reason why is this is the atmosphere. Remember I said, when you get women together, it creates like a gynocentric atmosphere. And TJ watch it gets better.
Vetting, essentially, that
at least for TJ.
By phone or by
we can charge this up that she trying to probe him, but let's
yeah, but you're not really gonna find out much from that, to be honest with you.
No.
See.
Oh boy.
What did hold on. What did I just say? What did I just say? Did I not? I haven't seen this part. I didn't see the whole video. I skipped around. So we're not right. So so this isn't me saying it based on I remember what was said. What did I just told you You're not like how they're talking about, because a lot of times with black women, what they think they're saying and what's actually being communicated are two completely fucking different things. They will have shit in their own head that they think they're saying, and that shit is not what that is. That's why they call Kevin, because they think half the shit they saying, that's not what's being actually communicated in their mouth. No, because I'm not gonna spend all this time talking.
Like, well, okay, so maybe I'm misunderstanding. Like,
let's just bring it back.
So my question would be, what would you propose to remedy it? Because I'm kind of like with Lucky again, when you're talking to the women on the phone, I'm assuming there's telephone conversation. I'm just using you as an example, or maybe some people you guys know.
No, TJ is talking to these people in their face. So the assessment he's coming from these women is off of first impressions based on how they're perceiving him. That's it. That's what he's been saying. They keep on bringing the telephone. He's talking about, I ain't doing the telephone because I approach these bitches. That's what he's saying. They're not hearing that.
Are they getting to find out what kind of women they are even before they go out to even determine if they want to have a date with them?
Most of these niggas ain't doing that. The Netflix and chill. Because if the bitch want to smash, you ain't got to take the bitch out on a date.
If they are superficial, are they very surface level, or do you just meet them and they approach you and you kind of know that off the bat?
So you're saying, is there an initial vetting essentially that you're doing, whether by phone or by yeah, but you're not really gonna find out much from that, to be honest with you.
No.
Like, well, okay, so maybe I'm misunderstanding. Like, what kind of thing are you saying am I gonna find out, right? Because
and I struggle with it, you guys, because I know sometimes I think that people listen to me because I'm married, but then they say that I'm too old, so they don't think that what I know is relevant. So
it's not for these bitches. Because you talking from stuff. I mean, even you like, this is why BGS talks about his kids. And he talks about his kids that are our age. This is why BGS talks about Insecure. Because he does that to make it relevant, and he adds his own wisdom into it based on that.
I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, because they think, well, you have what we want, Miss TJ, so it works, but you don't have what we want because you're not in the dating pool anymore, and plus you're 54, so you don't know what we deal with. And maybe that's partly true, but there are some things that I believe still remain. And I'll give you an example. And my husband and I, we met online. I've made it very clear. But when we had our initial dialogue, the chatting, we talked on the phone for hours, not texting.
That is because of your age, and I know that because as a guy that's my age, we don't do it like that. But as the ages have gone down, that is diminished because we know where you were in social media. You got people. Jonathan is 27 years old, which means Jonathan, when the first smartphones, a real smartphone, like the Sidekick, not like the Blackberries and stuff, would have came out, that was like 2011, which it means he would have been 20, he would have been 16 years old. Social media, MySpace existed when he would have probably been like 7, 8 years old, 6 years old. Facebook came around when he was probably like 13 years old. So this stuff is a lot more a part of, like when you look at the ages versus you talk about something like TJ, she talk about when you had, like, seriously, I'm not trying to play it, but like this is when voicemail was a big deal. You didn't have your own phone. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Actual conversation for hours, and then the next day for hours, talking kind of that vetting stuff. What did you like to do? And I have to be honest, when he told me the truck driver, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I want to deal with that, because truck drivers have a reputation. But we got to know each other, kind of vetting and kind of doing those questions.
Then you also got to understand what age she was. She said she got married at 52, meaning she was in probably her late 40s when that stuff was going down. She was in a different dating market space. That's a different space. Like we're talking about women that are like, well, I ain't gonna do 18. We talk about females really, they're like 23 to like 32. That's really the age range we're really talking about. So that's a different type of mode.
Those clarifying or discerning.
See, women like TJ women that are over 40 are gonna be less likely to be flaky as hell because they ain't got time for that bullshit.
Question. So that's why I'm asking, do you and your friends do that to kind of see if this is the kind of woman that's even substantive enough to even want to go out on a date with at all?
No, I got you now. Okay, I think I understand your question now. So the first thing I want to say, and I know that's not actually your main point here, but I just kind of want to touch on this, is even the way that you
the question you asked Jonathan is, how many dates do you really even go on dates? You just be fucking these bitches. Like, let's establish that first, because we establishing like he going on dates. Like, you don't know if that's what's going on.
But I think it's an interesting thing to touch on, right? Like, because I think there is a part of it, right, where I think your age may play a part in the app part of it, right? So here's what I mean by that. So, for example, when you're looking at like these dating apps, right? I don't use any of them, right? And part of it is because I think at my age group, right, these dating apps is pretty much entirely about your image on the app, right? Whereas I think for older people, when they're looking at the app, you're looking for a more established man, he's looking for a certain type of woman. There's way more substance, right? At our age group, most of the men who are having success on these apps they're the men with their super polished profiles, with the nice car, and they're showing off their abs or whatever they're showing off, and those are the men that are having success. And then
they're not for relationships; they're for sex.
Having success with the women who
essentially. And then what happens is women try to convert these niggas and wanting a relationship, and then they get mad when they can't. That's what that is.
And off their goodies or whatever, right? And so it's a very different when it comes from the app at our age group. That's the first thing. I just wanted to touch on that, right? So for me, I don't even use these apps because I honestly I don't even have time to go take pictures and do all that just to put on an app, right? So for me, mostly a lot of it for me comes from this in-person interaction, right? Like I approach people.
Did I not fucking say that? And I swear to you all, I did not hear him say that. I swear to you all, I'm not just rehashing shit to make myself seem smart. Y'all know as well as I do that usually I watch these things completely blind. Shout out to TJ17. Awesome job, Ed. Congrats on growing the channel and the collaborations. Your analysis on the city and show was fire. I got to support black men putting in that work. I appreciate that, TJ17. Sorry I'm not putting more of y'all on here. I'm just trying to pay attention to what this is. I appreciate the patience. We're almost done.
Like at meetings, so like at events, meetups, whatever, wherever I'm at. Like,
did I not fucking say that shit?
Approach the women, and so sometimes I'll get to talk to them on the phone beforehand, like you pointed out. But sometimes I'll just, depending on the vibe that I got when I talk to the person in person, like I will probably just schedule, hey, let's just actually schedule, first date or something, right? And so I'll just do something like that, depending on the vibe. And I'll be honest, in most cases, I don't really spend much time on talking on the phone. And maybe I should, but I don't spend much time talking on the phone. I just go on a first date and just.
And to be fair, BGS has suggested that phone shit too. He suggested he talked to a bitch 2 weeks before he take her out on a date.
That's why I really get to feel him out. In some cases, I do talk on the phone, but it's probably.
But the problem is, if you talk to these chicks like that, you got to remember these women are flaky, man. And so if you don't fuck them quick. Yeah. You know, even if they are attracted, unless they're super attracted, talking to bitches on the phone creates more room for you to fuck it up. Yeah. And a lot of niggas that are taller or shit, they know that. They know game ain't about getting the bitch. Game is about fucking it up. And the longer you talk, the longer you might be perceived as corny or lame and shit. It depends, So niggas, I'm telling you, man.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I like to get them out on the date as soon as possible, man.
Yeah. There's a reason for that because like sometimes presence matters and yeah. So they're not seeing, and they know this. The two at the top, they know this bullshit. Yeah. They know this because women are not built the same way they used to be built. These women today are not built for the most part for relationships. They're built for pumping and dumping. I'm sorry. Hey, like if I had Ramil on this motherfucker, Ramil would be like, I know what Ramil would say.
Then not. So, but then even I think in the first date, to your point, I do figure out, is this somebody that I'm actually on that first day, I figure out, is this somebody I'm actually interested in, right? And I don't know. Sadly, I think this is gonna sound horrible, but
these bitches don't be qualified.
Most women I encounter, I just realize, nah, this ain't it. And so I might realize in that moment, like, okay, I'll put her in the box of like, y'all probably gonna judge me for this, but I'll put her in the box of, okay, like, probably can smash her, but I'm not gonna look like, in that first date, I just realized, okay,
you in the whole zone. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's
because most of these chicks are fucking dumb. I'm sorry. They are. And then they want to talk about even the ones that got degrees are fucking dumb.
Like that's more of my encounters than not. Like way more of them is just, this ain't it.
Hey, you look at her body language, they don't like hearing that.
Yeah, hold on. I ain't paying attention to that. Let's rewind. Let's TJ, and let's slow it down. Yeah. And honestly, Jonathan would be considered the hit squad. High value in training. So this is his assessment. And you can and he's more of a extroverted person, and like I said, and I've heard a lot of stuff, a good amount of stuff from him on his panel, and usually he's on point. Like no matter what panel he's on.
Let's just actually schedule, first date or something, right? And so I'll just do something like that, depending on the vibe. And I'll be honest, in most cases, I don't really spend much time on talking on the phone. And maybe I should, but I don't spend much time talking on the phone. I just go on the first date and just see, that's why I really get to feel them out. In some cases, I do talk on the phone, but it's probably more rare than not. So
now keep in mind, he's already had a first impression with them, so this is not like it's different.
But then even I think in the first date, to your point, I do figure out, is this somebody that I'm actually on that first date, I figure out, is this somebody that I'm actually interested in, right? And I don't know, sadly, I think this is gonna sound horrible, but most women I encounter, I just realize, nah, this ain't it. And so I might realize in that moment, like, okay, I'll put her in the box of like,
which makes sense, which is why these hoes are on dates together 10 at a time, all the fucking time. That's what Kevin was talking about.
Thanks.
Y'all probably gonna judge me for this, but I'll put her in the box of, okay, like, probably can smash her, but I'm not gonna look like, in that first date, I just realized, okay, she ain't it, right? And I think that's a lot. Like, that's more of my encounters than that.
Yeah, because nigga, because I mean, just like how women friend zone men, men hoes on women. I don't understand what y'all don't understand about that. Y'all will talk about the friend zone like that's just a byproduct of the game, but y'all don't understand. Yeah, you can be a dumb bitch, but what does that mouth do? And if you sexually attracted, why the fuck would I throw you away? And yeah, you like. I don't understand what they don't understand about that. Because you still choosing to have sex. Now, if dudes are out here lying to you, that's different. But just because you lie to yourself, you lying to yourself, he got potential, all of that. That's a lie you tell yourself. I can't be held accountable for lies that you tell yourself.
Way more of them is just, this ain't it. So
I do see that with Lauren. She like, see y'all.
Yeah, she can't hide it.
Yeah,
Lauren can't hide it.
Sometimes it's just because maybe I can tell, like,
super triggered.
Especially here in Atlanta. One of the things that's very, you have a lot of educated sisters here, right? A lot of educated sisters, right? So, and unfortunately, a lot of them, like on the first date, the first thing they want back at you is their education, their degrees, and they just like they'll sit there and
this
talk.
Is where we got into what I started to hear
about their, like, themselves for so long, right? And talk about like all their degrees and all this stuff, and it's like,
go ahead and adjust that mic. I know that heat coming out your ears.
That is dope and all, but I do not want to sit here and listen to you talk about your degrees and your education for like 30 minutes, right? And to me, that's a turn off.
Before you finish, let me just plug in.
Yeah, something like it's called being a hozone, and it's gonna happen.
Why
especially if you in ADL with the men to female ratio?
You say that. Like, this is the thing. If you
why do I say fuck your education? I don't want to hear that because I ain't trying to get cussed out.
Man, like honesty, then be honest.
That's okay. First of all, you like, what are you talking about? Be like, if I don't want to hear your education, like, okay, let's say this. Let's say I'm on my affiliate marketing shit and I'm nerding out on that. I don't want no bitch to say, nigga, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, that's not gonna create a good vibe. Now and if you're on a date, you may listen to that shit for a certain amount of time, and then what you do is you transition out of that into something else. Like, no, bitch, I don't want to hear nothing about your education. Because number one, if she talk about her education, she may talk about an internship or something she had somewhere where she traveled somewhere. That can lead into certain like conversation streams. Just because he's saying he don't want to hear that, he's just saying that a lot of these women tend to only want to talk about. He's giving them the patterns of what he sees as somebody out here in the dating market, and they're not hearing that. What they're trying to do is they're treating him like he's somebody that needs to be educated on how to date. You notice that?
Facts.
He's giving them information that they can say, okay, here's this. So they're not really having a conversation. They're kind of talking down to him. They really are.
If she's sitting there rambling, sometimes she could be excited. She ain't been on a date in a long time, possibly. I'm just saying.
Well, that says a lot right there.
Say, you know what?
Maybe she just got out of her hoe phase.
I really like you, but
that hoe phase is like gravity, man.
I really want to hear about your degrees and stuff. Let's talk about you. And just be more upfront, and maybe she can self-correct, and you never know. It could be something that y'all laughed about in the past because y'all started out to just cut people off without being honest. It's like, yeah, I didn't like him because I don't like what he said. Women do it too. I'm just, talking to you, but I'm just saying, why not be honest? give her a chance to be better if you
Because
guys are
that's not how conversations work. And as a woman, you know that more than I do. So you don't sit there and cut somebody. Let's talk about something else, please. You nigga, you're not getting pussy doing that. Like if you just abruptly, pause. I don't want to hear that. Nigga, you might as well say check, please. Very few dudes got the game today. And first of all, if you got game, that's not how you're going to do it. What you're going to do is you're going to transition her out of that. And then she becomes very problematic if she keeps on trying to pull the conversation back to her fucking education. That's how you do it. Come on, man. You're a social creature. You understand that. Cut that
better.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you know more.
On the next date, she can be better for the next man to present herself in a better way.
I don't give a fuck about the next man. I'm not dating you for you to be a stand-in for the next nigga. The fuck?
Because it's just like, have you ever been on an interview where after it was over,
so here you go doing it, comparing it to a fucking job.
Wish you said something.
See, this is what cut off is. See, she wouldn't like that.
Wish something. If they just gave you a second chance, you could show them better. So it's the same thing.
That's not how jobs operate. Like, what? Oh my God. And first of all, jobs operate on a multi-interview process if you actually got any kind of career that matters. But whatever.
A date is just an interview. To be so harsh and just like, yeah, because most of these women, they just want to talk about this, then they could
He's not being Freeman. Are you still here? That harsh bullshit. Now, does this nigga sound like he's being... I hate this shit. Because I'm a nigga where I've been told that my voice can be very piercing. So if I say something, you really feel that shit. But you don't... I already know you can probably, get mad. But when you say shit, it is like... Just like with Jonathan, he's saying it what it is. So when people use words like, how can you be so harsh? He's not communicating it that way. Just because, oh man,
they haven't seen Harsh. They don't know Harsh.
He's talking about Harsh. I mean, all he said was he said that women like to talk about their ed degrees a lot. He didn't even give commentary on what he thought about it. He just said that's what he likes to do. That's what they always like to do. And again, that's that talking down to him. Yeah. It's like they're trying to educate him about them.
They know
the same thing.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Lucky and Lauren, they know exactly what it is in the dating game right now. They active and they know exactly what he's talking about. They filibustering. Go ahead.
What do you think about this, E? Am I full of shit on this shit or what?
No, you're absolutely. I'm listening to this and I'm listening to exactly what you're here saying, and I'm pretty much in agreement in all of this. The thing is that, like I said, I don't know. I wanted to say that men have gone through this, but I don't know if this is an 80s, 90s, or a generational thing. But I've always this hoe zone, friend zone has always been a traditional mating stance that men have taken.
Yeah, I just put the name called hoe zone because that's what dudes do. That's that pump and dump shit that women get mad about. And it's like, if dudes like how you look, but they don't like how they're not vibing with you, they still could be sexually attracted because men look at women a little bit different. Women need that vibe a little bit more.
Yeah, but that's been traditional.
Yeah,
like that's traditionally been the thing that since like you were 15. So I mean, I get it. Jonathan is actually doing a killer job in explaining. I see definitely the deflection. The one thing I do want to kind of add to this is that you are invited to a female panel.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're gonna get this, but you're right. And so this is the thing is the point of this. The truth is the truth, whether it's male or female. There may be different shades of it as far as perspectives, but it still should funnel back to the same stuff. So, and this is why I'm not talking about saying they're wrong. I'm saying the way they're approaching this. It's like, look, this doesn't help the women. If you look at women listening to this, them telling him about, they know who he is, they know what he's done. So they know this because Lauren already kind of said that. Them telling him, educating him on like what women are, that may make women feel good, but that ain't gonna help women when they go out here. Because Johnson's saying this is how these guys think, this is how they get down, this is how they respond to how they think. And if you want to educate a nigga on why he thinks is wrong, that's not gonna help you as your intended outcome. You're gonna be going on a lot of dates with these chicks where y'all all paying for it. Because
from when I heard her say, this is like a job interview, and I think for the most average man, we understand what job and we go for the most potential job. We don't apply for every single job. We go for what we want. And I don't like that idea that they're trying to, like you say, make it good for the next man. Like, no,
Yeah,
that
they actually,
we
and my question is, why would you expect a man to think that way in engaging with a woman? Now, I do understand that you leave a woman better than you found her. I can understand that, but that just means you don't take no chick that's a nice chick and you just you turn her into a 304 because you done play mind games with shit like that. But Jonathan isn't talking about anything like that. It's almost like he doesn't have a right to assess these women based on what he wants. Like, he doesn't have the choice. It's really on him to entertain the bitch, not on the bitch to be somewhat compatible with him.
Yeah, I think they're coming from the standpoint that if you're such a good guy, that if they miss out on you, they'll change their ways.
That's not how women think, because
What?
that's not how. No, I get, you're right as far as they think that, but I mean, I said it wrong. You're
Yeah.
right as far as how women think that, but that's not how the world works.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, if you're a guy that women problematic women don't change. They may pretend to change to get what they want, but problematic women don't change for men, necessarily men of value. That's really cap. That's really cap. This is why a lot of these women are always throwing free pussy at a dude, because they want to get a dude to comply to them. The truth
Hey,
is, yeah, the truth is, men that are value, when I say value, I mean economic, genetic, whatever, they can just run the numbers on you, meaning you don't have to change. And I don't even want to go into a situation where you have to constantly tell you to change. This is where the compatibility and chemistry stuff matters. This thing about women are just going to change for the man that they want, that's some bullshit that women tell themselves, and that's very problematic when women tell themselves that, because that's a delusion. Because by the time they get in front of the nigga they really want to change for, they can't change fast enough. They don't know how to change. This is where you start taking femininity fucking classes.
Which is why I kind of brought up the fact that this is more or less a female thing, and they're kind of catering to that idea. They don't want to. They're hearing it, but they don't want
Well,
their audience to be.
yeah, they can cater to it all they want to, but the truth is the truth. The outcomes are the outcomes. I could care. Like, it's the same thing with the dudes. Like, when dudes are talking about, oh, well, you interviewing Brittany Renner and all of that, I'm saying the outcome matters. At the end of the day, it's a show that spurs a conversation, which is in alignment with what Kevin wants to do. The end. And it's people in their field. It's a lack of maturity is what, and I'm not trying to beat up on them. I get it's a female panel, but what you have to understand, just because it's a female, just because it's a female panel, they still got to deal with the dudes that they want in the sense that they want it. So, and women are not having the outcomes they want. So clearly the way they see things from a quote unquote modern female standpoint is not creating the outcomes they want. That's it. If they had the outcomes they want for the most part, men wouldn't have a ground to stand on. Let's go.
Things about you. Like, oh, Jonathan just want to talk about, I really like you, but I don't really want to hear about your degrees and stuff. Let's talk about you. And just be more upfront, and maybe she can self-correct, and you never know.
This is why you don't listen to women when it comes to game.
It could be something that y'all laugh
because that shit,
she
about
know,
in the past. Because
let me get this off, man. She know good and damn well if she was out on a date and the guy said, "Hey, Lucky, I don't want to hear about your business or your education." She gonna be mad.
That nigga gonna go in instant lane. Unless that nigga is on panty dropper status, that nigga's gonna go to instant lane. If he's one of them niggas that's like, his personality can move him left or right.
Right.
It's gonna be instant lame status. Because you gotta also remember that these dudes are being judged based on the niggas these women are used to getting. So if you're dealing with a fairly attractive dude, or dealing with a fairly attractive female, she's measuring you against the dude that she's had before.
Yep.
Because sexual access is not a problem for women like it is for men. Men can sexual access for this is the difference between sexual access for men and women. Sexual access is like, let's say I make money selling chocolate bars. So, let's say I get a commission off selling chocolate bars. Let's say a woman gets paid the same commission for giving those bars for free. That's essentially the difference. And so when they say that shit, they don't have that context. But let's go.
Y'all started out to just cut people off without being honest. It's like, yeah, I didn't like him because I don't like what he said. Women do it too. I'm just, talking to you, but I'm just saying, why not be honest? give her a chance to be better if you guys aren't together. On the next date, she can be better for the next man to present herself.
Go ahead, yeah.
She's saying go mode 1.
Yeah, but
That's
the
what she's
thing
saying.
is,
Be
she's
mode
saying
1.
that
Just
in
be
the
mode 1.
context. She's saying that in the context of a conversation. But the truth is, in real time, if a nigga do that and she ain't already planning to fuck that nigga, and the truth is, even if she is, unless the sexual attraction is really strong, you know, this is where women talk about it didn't work out because of chemistry. Like niggas saying stupid shit like that. Like so she's saying that in. She's saying that in a conversation, but if somebody said that to her, because then she'll be the same one talking about, well, a nigga with game would have transit. I wasn't talking about that shit that long, and then nigga with game would have took what I was saying and spun that into something else.
Right.
A better way.
So whatever.
You'd be mad as hell.
Because it's just like,
I would have pointed that out.
Ever been on an interview where after it was over, you wish you said something? You wish something. If they just gave you a second chance, you could show.
That's not how women view relationships, though.
Better.
Women view relationships as they're the interviewer.
Facts.
They like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't
So
know
it's the
why
same
women
thing. A
get
date
up
is
here,
just.
man. And I wish I'd have been on that panel. I don't know why women get up here and do that, man.
Yeah, let's go. Let's move.
He's so harsh and just like, yeah, because most of these women, they just want to talk about this. Then they could be saying the same.
He's not being harsh. He's being direct. You ask him a question, he's giving you a direct answer
about you. Like, oh, Jonathan just want to talk about what these women are doing.
And a lot of times they may be thinking that's impressive.
Jonathan is not talking about the lack of outcomes he's getting, though. Again, you keep making it a fucking about him because you don't want to talk about the general shit.
Because again, I used to think that too, because you think that is impressive to men. You know, when I was in my
question is, who the fuck told y'all that? What man told you? Who the fuck told you that your education was impressive? Like, where do y'all get that from? Has anybody ever explored that? Let's go.
Graduate from college and stuff. You think that's impressive because you just don't know that
this is how I do my play-by-plays.
You think that that's an asset, because I have said before, when I graduated from college and all that kind of stuff, I thought by sharing that with the man that he would think that was an asset that, would be.
It depends on what it's in. Y'all talk about, I'm a psychology major. Oh, so you gonna get into sales? No, then that shit's worthless. That's debt.
Something that would be beneficial.
When we gonna get married? When you pay that shit off?
Us as a couple, but not knowing, you didn't give a damn. But again, a lot of times we lead with things that we think
all this debt black women are drowning in when it comes to these things. I hope Biden better not forgive this shit. And these chicks are talking about that's an asset. You notice they never think about the debt; they think about the feeling. These hoes be $200,000 in student loan debt. Talk about they an asset.
Assets or might be assets, and it's really repelling. And we don't know that. We just don't.
Y'all like you don't know that. Like that's not enough. Why the fuck do you not know that?
They get their value system from other women, right?
Yeah.
They don't talk to us.
Exactly.
They get their value system for other women, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't know." It's like, okay, because you're only talking to women.
Yeah, so you're gonna end the fucking conversation. We're gonna put a period on. Why don't you know? Who taught? Well, we just weren't taught. Like that's not acceptable. That's not an acceptable answer. That's an escape hatch answer. If you went to Ayanna, that's why Ayanna Van Zam's show got turned off. If you went to her fucking show talking that bullshit, she would not accept that either. She would make your ass go deeper than that. And if you notice, this is the same shit she said on my platform. Just saying.
I think that's something.
Yeah, you guys make a good. You guys make a good point.
When in doubt, I didn't know. My brother used to do that. I didn't know, nigga. You lying.
So Lucky, I agree with you. I actually agree with you that you should be honest. And there are certain things that I'm very direct about. I think that one is one of those things where it's kind of tricky, right? It's something that's tricky to handle, right? Because quite frankly, the level of honesty that you're saying, you don't really know how the woman's going to react to it. And depending on the environment I'm in, I'm potentially just don't want to deal with. Like, I just don't want to deal with what may come out of me telling her that, right? Like, there are certain things for me that I am entirely direct about every single time, right? And so, for example, one of those things for me that grinds my gears is I take somebody out and she's on her damn phone the entire time. Right, like that thing.
I said it before. You're on your phone.
Wait. Hey, for real, that happens on dates.
Yeah.
Like you go out with a chick and she's on her phone all the time.
Man, nigga, if the bitch ain't flaking on you, that's some shit that they try. And I'm gonna tell you, I got protocols for that shit. Like I got protocol. That shit I will not. Now that shit, yeah, that's a wham bam thing. That we're not doing check please. We're doing I'm out. And this is why on the first date, this is why I like generally if I take people on dates, I like take people on my home territory, meaning places I've gone to often. But I've also started to think of picking places that I don't care about burning because because truth be told, I don't like leaving places and not paying for them that I know I'm going back to. Versus shit like that, I'm not going to endure you being on your phone. I'm not doing that. Watch their body language with that.
That for me is the one thing that I'll tell her, can you put the phone down?
Oh, look at them laughing. They
I'll tell her that
laughing
once,
because they
and the second
do
time I'm
it.
gonna get
Oh my
Yeah,
or
god.
might
yeah.
be assets.
Let's go.
And it's really repelling, and we don't know that.
I know I'm pretty bitch like these bitches.
We just don't.
Man, you can't,
I think that's
man.
something to
Yeah,
do
you
with-
guys make a good
Oh.
you guys make a good point.
Yeah.
So Lucky, I agree with you. I actually agree with you that you should be honest. And there are certain things that I'm very direct about. I think that one is one of those things where it's kind of tricky, right? It's something that is tricky to handle, right? Because quite frankly, the level of honesty that you're saying, you don't really know how the woman's gonna react to it. And depending on the environment I'm in, I'm potentially just don't want to deal
Like,
with,
look
like,
at
I
these
just don't want to
hoes.
deal with what may come out
I
of me
can't.
telling her that, right? Like there are certain things for me that I am entirely
Oh,
direct
that's
on.
not even new, Freeman. That's been going on.
Like
Bro,
every
like,
single time,
here's
right?
the
So for
thing.
example, one of those things for me that
Hold
grinds my
on,
gears
hold on.
is I
Look,
take somebody out.
Hold on. What you gotta say before we go into
no,
body
man.
language
Look,
piece?
I'm a foodie. A lot of times I go to places because I want to go to them. She
Yeah.
need to get up and leave. If you on your phone, you can get up and leave. You got your phone, get an Uber and get out. Because I'm not paying for you. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
leaving. You leaving. Like this, my house. I brought you here.
And
You
these
can
are
get up and
chicks
go.
that expect you to pay for everything, all of that, and
Hell,
they can't even pretend.
hell
They
no.
can't even pretend for 45 minutes that they want to be there. Even if you don't plan. Here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy. Obsidian talks about the dental horse situation, but these chicks can't even pretend they're even interested. This is why there's a reason dudes are saying, I don't really like taking bitches out until after I done fuck. Because generally you're not gonna be as mad about that because at least you know, okay, I'm in there with sexual access. Because chances are if you fuck once, you'll fuck again. You know, chances are, unless you done had a pattern of behavior of women are ghosting your ass, but you already know what time it is with that if that happens, right? You have a bet, you know what I'm saying? So that's why dudes are like that. That's not dudes just being assholes. There's a reason for that. It's not just the flaky shit. If you can get past that, then you deal with the phone shit. And it ain't no kind of thing. Let's go. Let's watch their body language. Why is this funny?
Yeah, she
And she's
laughing.
on her
Look at
damn
her.
phone the entire time, right? Like that thing, like that for me is the one thing that I'll tell her, can you put the phone down, right? And I'll tell her that once.
And it may not be that they do it, but they know women that that's common. They know it's
I'm literally getting
common.
up and
Nah,
leaving,
man.
right?
That
But
look
it's
on
like,
Laura's face.
to me,
That's how I've done that.
that's one of those things
Lucky too.
that I'm very direct about. But when it comes to like the education one, again, these sisters, they care about the education a lot. Like I'm telling you, I don't know if this is an Atlanta specific thing.
I know it's not, and their identity is their education because that's what they have been taught. And again, a lot of these women are fucking gameless. If they did not have a vagina that dudes wanted to fuck, they would be fucked. Like for real. But that's really the only thing that keeps dudes around them. It ain't not like, would you go on a date with any of these females if you knew you wasn't having sex? Even with the females that look good, that shit would just plummet.
There's a lot of educated women here, and for them, like that's like you said on TCJ, like that's a huge accomplishment, you know, especially when they got their masters and you know, and so because you know I'm 27, so if it's like if
you gotta remember the hoes that got their masters are typically like 24, 25.
Like, you know, 24, 25, and
Shit,
she's got her master's or she's working on it. Like she's so excited to talk.
I mean, I'm not doing this on purpose, man. I swear I'm not.
And I don't want to be a dick, right? Like I don't want to be a dick, and I it's like one of those things you just don't know how to handle depending on the location that we're at. You know, if we're having dinner at
I know how to handle these things because trust me, I've had plenty of you short motherfucker if I operation, so I know exactly how to finesse these things.
It's a nice spot. Like I just don't want it to end up causing a scene of her to get her feelings. I don't know how she's gonna react. If we're just sitting at a park, that may be.
Oh, and you would know how she'd react if you talked to her over her phone and you told her shut the fuck up about her education. You would know.
Different. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on the environment that I'm in. But I agree with you, Lucky. I think I prefer the direct honesty than just kind of just like holding it in and.
Man, that's bullshit because these women don't prefer that. Now, it's different between talking about mode one as far as your intention to have sex because the truth is, if you really mode one, you ain't got to go on a date. So we're talking about a conversational structure We're talking about social skills. And there's ways, and it's somebody that basically prospects people on a daily basis. I talk to like at least 25 people, if not 50 people a day. And that's outside of what I do in my job when I'm talking to these fucking agents, coaching them on what the fuck they need to be doing. You know, I can tell you right now, come on. Yeah. But
type of way. So it just depends on the scenario.
We're not even in the part that pissed me off yet.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well,
I'm sorry, just one more thing.
Yeah.
If I may offer a suggestion, when you meet these young ladies, you know, and again, I know this is a whole different thing. You know, this is a new way of doing things, but certain things still remain.
The problem is you all are talking to y'all are talking about the ideal of what a female is. You want to know the bitches these niggas are dealing with? The ones that call in the Kevin Samuels show. Okay. So let's cut the bullshit about the ideal of what these chicks are. Let's cut that bullshit out. Because that's what y'all are creating, these straw man women that we supposed to have these magical thoughts. And this nigga is telling you, that's not what the fuck I'm seeing. Oh, well, we're just going to talk about the ideal.
So when you meet the young lady and you schedule a date or whatever.
Schedule.
Have a conversation before the date. And as you're having some conversation, you know, have some ground rules. I mean, because you can say it nicely.
Watch,
you know, say, hey, listen, you know, I really want to get to know you, but I have a couple of rules.
That's gonna say her bag packing.
You know,
exactly. That's that chaos.
Right.
You know, when I'm out with you, I'm out with you, and I would like us to agree that we're not going to have the cell phones out.
You're officially old.
Because see, that's
the Auntie TJ.
What?
See, Auntie TJ, the thing. See, I think I'm so glad that
I'm gonna start calling that before Christ dating.
I agree with you. I wish it could be like that, but again, I'm telling you,
I get that because she said the word. Jonathan, she said the word rule. So maybe instead of saying I have a rule, just be like, this is the thing that I am very cognizant of, that I really want to make sure you know that I notice, and I want you to be mindful of. It's a way to say it. When people say rules, that's like, oh dang, we're not even together, and you already trying to restrict me? Like,
well,
okay.
I do it the first time I see the.
Yeah, because y'all are chaos agents. And then these are the same women that talking about why ain't nobody protecting me. Well, y'all don't want structure to be protected in anyway. So this is where that shit comes through. And this is where we get into the how you say it bullshit. Jonathan wouldn't use the word rules. We know TJ is of a certain age, and also she's in the military, which is rules is not a bad word for her. We'll charge that up to military. And So Jonathan would have probably said it a different way, but this is what the fuck you don't understand. These hoes are flaky. Meaning you gonna have it's pointless having this pre-conversation with a bitch you don't even know this gonna show the fuck up. And I don't give a fuck how much juice you got on these chicks when it come to dates. A lot of some of y'all, these chicks are more likely to show up for a dick appointment than they are like for you, more than they are likely to show up for a date. Because they want to be with their girls and all of that, versus if they show up for a dick appointment, you already know what they want. Because they acting in what they're in right now. So if they calling, you know what time it is. So it ain't about, oh, well, they not showing up on dates because you ain't got game. No, they're not showing up on dates because they're like that. And that's not black women. By the way, that's all races of women in the United States. That's a Western thing.
And before you go, because I might forget, I just want to say, it depends on how you say it. What if you say it at the table?
Oh my God.
Like when you see her pulling her phone, like, hey, like, can we just put our phones away and just interact with each other? And see how that's
you know, like how I said, you know, so bitch, this is what we're doing. What? Oh, so glad you're paying attention.
Yeah.
So no, that's actually what I was about to say, Lucky. That's basically when I do it, is when the first time I see the phone come out and I tell her, hey, can you put the phone away? And it's like,
I don't do that. I watch to see how long they're gonna take. Like, is that an emergency? Yeah.
Sometimes
I don't do that, because even when you do that, again, they're gonna react a certain type of way. Because the thing about it is, you got to remember, if you're dealing with hoes that they want free food, they're gonna be like, who the fuck are you? Because I'm just here for a free meal. You need to shut the fuck up and let me eat.
Sometimes it's even
and be
like,
on this phone.
And they can get that
because that phone shit is a tell. That phone shit is a tell. I don't give a fuck what you niggas say. These bitches are not pulling out their phones 20% of the date and you fucking. Y'all better stop.
Text or whatever the hell she's doing on social media. But the more annoying one is like when you see her pull it out and she got her camera, like this so she can take pictures of the food. And I'm just like, no, we're not doing this. Like,
I'll let them get away with that. I'll let them have that.
We're not
That's the
doing this.
first time
But
she's ever had escargot or freaking mahi mahi.
I don't care. I don't care. This is not
But
the
you know
moment. Like,
what?
I'll let them have that.
This generation of folk, they don't live in the moment. They want to take pictures of
exactly.
everything. But see, but I'm gonna tell you one thing, Jonathan. Though, see, y'all talking.
I'll let them have the food pics.
About if I say I got rules, that's a problem. But see, me as a woman, you would say,
rules.
could you put that up? That might offend me too.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. A lot of times,
see.
Maybe not use the word rules, but as we're talking, even before you're setting up the day, say, hey, you know,
see how they trying to coach this nigga? This nigga doesn't need to be coached.
Want to get to know you. Can we?
Some of these niggas need to be coached, but this is not a nigga that needs to be coached by y'all. Now they turn this into a coaching session.
Agree that when we're together, we're really just going to focus on getting to know each other and not have our phones out.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in Jonathan. Listen, you are who you are. There's a way to do it. Have grace always, like TJ says. But
grace and masculinity doesn't mix. You're not fucking niggas that you would describe has grace. Lucky you ain't sucking the dick of niggas that your first like 10 words to describe them. Grace will come into that. I mean, let's stop bullshitting. This is how you raise these effeminate ass boys. They turn out like Kanye West crazy and shit. And I like Kanye West. And what did Kanye West say? And I was raised by women. You know, and so this is how you need to have grace with these women. What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
If you want to say rules like the first way, set your standards. Somebody's gonna like it and somebody's gonna say, "Ooh, okay, let me
exactly
become correct." So
this shows me she knows what the deal is.
You feel like, oh, why I gotta have my phone out?
Noted.
Or I want to. Okay, bye. Maybe
exactly. So honestly, you don't even honestly, a choice could be you just observing that. And I'm not saying you should just run away from a date, but you as a man, you have to observe everything and make a spot, assessment on that. If you think you ain't getting pussy from this bitch and you getting to the point where your game ain't go, you know how it is when you playing a fighting game, you playing a game, nigga, I'm getting my ass beat so bad. I'm not gonna make a comeback from this. This ain't gonna be a robbery. Where nigga you was fucking up in the date and then somehow you pulled it back. You niggas know if you all are capable of doing that or not. And if you not, don't waste your time and then you look goofy trying to get that end of date kiss if they even do that shit anymore. And then her man saying, "Yo, get your ass up here." That's never happened to me, but I've heard stories.
Your wife is not in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I don't think Jonathan has.
I doubt most of these niggas' wives are in Atlanta.
Getting the ladies, but we're just trying to help you refine.
Nobody.
What did she say? What did she say? Did I not say that? Did I? Nigga.
You trying to help Ike? They trying to help Ike.
And here's the thing. The truth is, I bet you and Lauren is attractive, as well. I bet, but I do believe Johnson can probably pull better than both of them.
You don't have a problem getting a lady, but if you want a wife, is what we talking about here.
Yeah, so because you two are married at the top.
I was about to say, if we trying to get him to the finish line sooner than later, so then he knows that, because I know you're still building and you're getting where you want to be. So.
You know what tripped me out, man? No, dude. What trips me out is the number of ladies on these panels who are supposedly on the right side of this equation that are unmarried.
Yeah, this is where E Black would say.
And I'm a married man, and I can tell you, no, you're not gonna understand nothing. You are chosen. If you ain't chosen, you ain't it. That's the short answer.
That is that simple.
And this is where E Black would say, well, you got to remember, guys, this is a female panel. Because it is. This is that bullshit. So you kind of volunteer. This is what I kind of said, too, when you're going into hostile territory. And like I said, they being nice about it. But this is entertainment. This ain't meant for you to learn shit. This is entertainment. This is so you can feel good. Like, look, here's an example of black men and black women having a conversation without fighting. It's hope. It is hope for the Black Republic. Okay, if you need that coping. Yeah, if you need that coping shit, me, I'll be like, all right, listen to this Davey Carroll. Let me know what you think. Could you imagine? You want to know who I would like to call into this shit, like for real? You know who I want to go to the Lapifa Network for real? Like I would put $100 down to do that, and I'll try to do a GoFundMe. Say who? Say who, guys? Somebody say who?
Well, Sotomayor, David Carroll.
No, that's too easy.
Jason Black.
Minister Jap.
Oh,
God.
Minister Jap will wreck all that shit. And you know, if I couldn't get Minister Jap, you want to know who a consolation prize would be? Ramil.
Ramil would be wild too, but man,
Yeah, Ramil, yeah, they wouldn't be able to handle Ramil, yeah, because but Jap, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So I think it's better for you to like find that person now versus when you actually come into your full, money bag, your full potential, since we're talking about that, and then you having to sift through all the, gold diggers or the ones.
Yeah, potential. Notice how she described potential as money.
I'm trying to think of buy and sell these
moochers or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
Jonathan be like, you know what you need, Jonathan? You need to take some of that money and go to a trip. Let's go to DR. Let's go to Brazil.
Yeah, I think
fuck that nigga
totally
up.
find your one before you even reach the age of 30.
And how old are you? I mean, how tall are you, Jonathan?
Oh, so now we that's what we doing now.
Samuel.
I'm 6 feet.
Okay, because I might have a young.
By the way, I'm only laughing.
So basically 6 feet, 27, a career. So in Atlanta, with y'all talking about the guy to girl ratio, because he's heterosexual. So you already know he ain't got to do none of that shit they talking about. So we already know that we can already assess in Atlanta that, because remember, no matter where you are, 6 feet is 14% of the population. So even if you're dealing with areas like Black, at best, you're in the top 20. You're in 20 just off that. And then he's probably in the top 20. You only need 50,000 to be in the top 20 for money. And and in the South, you need a little bit less than that. So we already know that he's probably in the top 15 or 16 for money. So automatic. So he's got the genetic currency, the economic currency going. So, I mean, straight up. And so let's be clear here. Even if Jonathan was talking that shit on like how he gets treated, he's still a 6 foot nigga. And I say that, I know people think that I'm like, I got a closet short man complex. I say that because we know that these women make exceptions for certain beauty markers. That's what I'm saying. We know these women are not dating 6-figure niggas like that. So when they use terms like potential, those are little add-ins for them. If they're getting the genetic currency items that they want, they're willing to bet on the other stuff. So again, this is a guy that they're talking to like he need help. The reality is Jonathan was giving you an assessment of, I deal with a lot of these females. I got a good survey count of these chicks and how they typically do. And I'm telling you what they do. And then they talk about, well, it's how it's no, it's not. Because we know women are not requiring the same things from every dude. They're not.
I have a young Tinder Viddle that I might want to introduce you to that I love.
We don't do that entry because usually when y'all do that, they fat.
Dearly.
Yeah, facts.
She's gorgeous. She's tall, statuesque, very smart.
Oh, that's
right. Classy.
Then why she needs your help if she all of that?
Yeah.
Distinguished. Okay.
That's how I see. I'm an asshole.
Happens to be in my family, not me.
If she all that, how old is she? Oh, well, she's 26. Okay, then there's got to be something wrong with her because she be married. If she all of that, she be married at 22, 23.
Facts.
Because a lot of the good Black women, they get. That's why they be talking about, I got married young, because them niggas be getting caught up young. They be getting married young. Like, when I'm not saying you fucked up if you get past 23, but a lot of Black women is all of that, and they like in the market for marriage, they get the offers. And that's another thing you would say. How many offers has she got? None. Why?
So
So you gonna
in fact, you can't be a 9. You can't be a 9, in my opinion, unless you've had at least one stalker.
So you're gonna be on TJ for real.
Could be.
Listen.
Prerequisites, everyone.
Okay.
You're trying to stab you.
No, you gotta have at least one stalker, and it's easier than ever. It is easier than ever on the internet.
You know what's funny about that? So Gail is in Atlanta right now, and like we're linking up, and Gail was already trying to play Cupid earlier today, so it was kind of
play Cupid to who? Do we know this person?
No, it's somebody that
I don't trust that.
Knows in Atlanta.
Oh, that means you are hot.
It was super funny. But I love Gail. I appreciate Gail. Thank you, Gail.
Oh my God. So Jonathan, that means you out here. You a hot commodity. You out here just okay, ladies. If y'all want,
which dudes could already assess that based on some of the stuff he was saying. Like, again, y'all the ones that seem to be acting like y'all slow.
Y'all better come correct. Y'all better put your phones away at the table, and you better not be trying to be.
And remember, bitches are doing that, and they see who he is, and they doing that. Did I not say that shit was happening with 6 foot niggas too? Did I not just say that? I did not know this nigga was 6 feet. I'm just saying. These shit.
And you
And that's
slang.
the way it should be. The women should be vetting the women that you're dealing with, just like the men should be vetting.
The
men.
problem is y'all do what Obsidian is saying. Y'all be sending niggas homely sisters. Y'all don't be vetting them. Y'all be trying to level up them bitches, and I'm not gonna be the nigga you level up with. That's what you do. Like that's why niggas don't do that.
And that the women are dealing with, absolutely. So if you have a chick or whatever, you say, hey, Auntie Terry, peep game. I'm here, Gail peep game, and I'm like, no, she ain't it. Yeah, she is it. Say, what are your intentions with my nephew? I will ask those questions. I'm like that.
So actually, TJ mentioned something here that I think is very important, right? So beyond, because one thing you said is about like not living in the moment. I think for me, like it actually goes beyond just the dinner date and she's pulling out her phone. I think you're entirely correct. It's like that's one of the reasons for me why I don't have any social media anymore, right? Like other than YouTube, like I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Twitter.
So we cannot
Because
find
I find that so many people just live there, like they live for so that they can go and put it on Twitter, on Facebook, like not really enjoying the moment. So even if I were to like plan the nicest date, I could take you to so many places, but you're gonna be on your phone the entire time. What's the point of it? Like for me, that's kind of how I look at it. Like because if I go, let's say I go to a concert,
and we know black women are on social media more than any other demographic.
You would not see my phone come out the entire concert, but yet you see everybody else. That's all they're doing is their phones, right?
I'm the same way.
Everybody else, like the entire concert, you will not see my phone come out not one time. And so for me, that's kind of like it. It really kind of bothers me, and I've been told that it shouldn't, but I can't help it. It really bothers me that
you've been told you should just accept it.
I think anything I could plan,
because these hoes are gonna be on that social media.
Just like she's gonna be on her phone the entire time, so we won't really get to enjoy it. And I've had to deal with that with exes. I've had to deal with that with exes when it's like even when she was, I'm in a relationship with you, and for me, like every single time, like that becomes the reason why I can't deal with you because I can't even plan. Like the moment I make time for something, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. You're spending way more time on your damn phone clipping things so you can post on Instagram. And the funny thing is, you're clipping it to post on Instagram so you can tag me in it. But here I am in real life with you trying to enjoy a damn moment with you, right? But you're tagging me on freaking Instagram.
Well, your wife might be in Oklahoma.
Right.
Notice how they said that. So basically, you need to go to somewhere in the end of the earth.
This is
so that's them admitting that it is like
that. That's admitting that's intercultural.
Yeah, they
basically
know.
What time it travel. That's what time that is.
So y'all stick around for more shows, more late night girl talks. And Jonathan, you're no stranger to us, so I really appreciate your support.
Love you.
Yeah, so and this stuff is all. People say, "Oh, well, you taking it too seriously." No, I'm not. What I'm saying is, the thing about it is dudes are, I see PK down there, shout out to PK, shout out to Young J, Free Defenders, Allen, Skillmonger, Smart Guy, make sure y'all support the Cash App. The reality is, man, dudes in 2021, dudes are observing and just moving. A lot of the dudes that are on social media that people want to say are complaining and doing what, they're giving voice to what dudes are already doing. Most of the dudes are not on social media, like, because they want to talk about what you still, that when people say you complaining, that's really cold for you still here and you ain't going nowhere. And that's a delusion, because people are getting this stuff for the entertainment that they're getting this stuff for. But at the end of the day, they doing what they gonna do. What they think is right is what they gonna do, straight up. And they're not. A lot of women think that dudes are playing games with them, and this is why look at the market. Just like how it used to be, you didn't have to work 2 jobs. Now working 2 jobs is like normal. And you got to have a hustle. It used to be you didn't have to have 2 households, 2 incomes. Now that's normal. That's required to even have a decent thing. If that, it's the same thing with women. It used to be that women could go out to these clubs and get dudes to buy them drinks. You got dudes that are balling, but outside of that, dudes for the most part ain't even going to clubs like that no more. Even I was going down even during COVID. You got dudes that used to be, you get the women to go to restaurant because the dudes want to take a female out because they thought that was the path to sex. Well, Netflix and chill and women pushing that fucked that up. So a lot of dudes are like, what's the point of me putting my bid in monetarily when these women are only gonna fuck the niggas they want to fuck? And some dudes believe in game. There's still dudes that believe in game, but you got a lot of dudes checking out, and they check out in a couple of different ways. They may check out by going MGTOW, which MGTOW could be, periods of not being in the market. You got dudes that they're just traveling. You got dudes that are just playing a transactional game. And so what you're left with is these like 20-25% of guys where they have all the leverage. They had a lot of leverage in jump, but now they got all the leverage because it's really you deal with me and you don't deal with nobody. And then now they want to complain about that, but you can complain all you want to. You're not going to shame. You're not going to shame guys. If guys are in situations where a lot of women are trying to deal with them, you're not going to shame dudes into being like you're not going to shame them into doing that because it's too in front of them. And so what happens is you see what do you see with these women? These women are going to all they want to make it cool to do these girls trips or do these girls date. Everything you do this girls this girls that is code for you can't get a nigga to really do it for you. You can't get a sponsor. So what y'all do is y'all try to make the shit look better by you all, and that gets reflected because and the reason why that's pushed into society because we live in a hyper consumerism culture. Women spending money, getting more jobs and spending money is always going to be seen as a good thing. So that's never going to be shamed because that's going to shame you out of spending shit. They don't care about how you get the money. They just care about getting the money. And so, yeah, I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not doing this to beat them up. It'll sound like I'm being mean spirited about it. But the reality is, you got to understand these Z's like Jonathan is a younger millennial. Jonathan is like in the last like two-year really age group for millennials. He's the last boat. And then you get into the Z's. The Z's don't give a fuck. Dudes his age don't give a fuck. They're giving you voice to what they're doing. He said it before. He ain't even on social media like that. So a lot of these guys that y'all are looking at ain't even on social media. So y'all gotta be out here. So they think it's just girls talking. It's this. Yeah, it's y'all all gonna be alone, and then eventually y'all gonna be over there with Cynthia G talking about abort black male babies. Anyway. We're gonna go into final thoughts. So what are your final thoughts about what I've said, what you heard, what you want to add in, all that shit. We're gonna start with who's the dude on my upper right? On my right.
Oh yeah, that's me. Yeah. Triple X, man. Triple X.
Triple X. Oh yeah, you do talk about Jason Black was that nigga. I know if you come in here about to be the Jason Black defense way. I fuck with Jason Black, but I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
No, I'm not gonna be the defense force. I mess with him heavy, but and you probably one of the only manosphere guys that even speak about Jason Black.
Most of them just ignore
the chats. BGS every blue moon will bring him up to reference something, but nobody else really even talks about him. So it's interesting. But
well, especially after he started talking that shit. But man, I hope somebody screen grab that thing about him going crazy because I would pay about $20 to hear that shit like straight up.
Yeah, it was crazy. He was still articulate, but it was an epic. It was an epic.
Did he call him a kitten?
Oh yeah. He did that like 10 times, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, and real talk, like it ain't even like a foregone conclusion in a physical altercation, like because I've seen pictures of what Jason supposedly looked like, and it ain't even a foregone conclusion because people forget Kevin is in martial arts and shit. Y'all be, man, all right, whatever. But go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, outstanding stream, man. That was an epic breakdown of that Lauren show right there, man, on the Peep Network. And hey, as always, top quality conversation chopped up over here. I agree with you. The girls was basically all cap, and reality is, like you say, taking the money or whatever out of the status out of the picture is going to be genetic currency. And what tantalizes their palate, and then they'll bet on the rest. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Facts.
Yeah, absolutely. So, E.
Yo. Thanks again, Mr. Anderson. I appreciate it. You've been kind of like my Morpheus, teaching me little stuff about little things and how this thing goes in this dark area of the YouTube. And I appreciate everything that you got going on over here. Other than that, I came on originally, like I say, for the Brittany Renner thing. Like I've always told men, and men have always taught me, get your bread up, get your money up, learn how to talk, learn how to walk, learn how to dress, learn how to do the things and deal with the women that are in front of you instead of looking at somebody else's hoe. And things could be all right for you. But other than that, you know, I like the breakdown of the other networks video and catch my channel and do what they do on YouTube and subscribe. But I appreciate you for dropping allowing me on, man.
No, absolutely, absolutely. All right, man. Yep. Peace out. And then Black Pill. All right. So what is up, Freeman?
Yo, um, the thing that trips me out most about the whole thing, like the whole manosphere and all these trends, is that we're talking about these indicators like they're new. Like this is like 10 years old. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's talk. Because when I look at sometimes look at white manosphere content, I'm like the women over there are just up in arms, right? Because they've seen it for a while, right? Like the reduction in men going to college, that's a lagging indicator, right? The census that came out in 2020 that says marriage rates going down, right? That's a lagging indicator. the the outlook is bleak for black women in America. I mean, bleak. Like Kevin's ratings, I don't think are harsh enough. I mean, a black woman who's 32 and unmarried, no kids, right? Or over 30, she might be washed. Over 30. Like the danger zone is like 25 to 30. Cuz guys younger than me just aren't checking for them. Like you said. So they don't get it yet. They will, but they don't cuz like you're saying, social media, everything else, it all looks rosy, yada yada. These men just crazy. That's why y'all on all these panels talking about what can we do, right? This is like the first. That to me is like the first acknowledgement. Oh, how can we bring the community together, right? That is the first indication that they see a little something going on, right? With just the Password Bros, SYSBM, etc., right? But they don't really know that they're 10 years too late for what can we do, because the ladies who aren't going to get caught up in this wave are the ones that got the cookbook out already, right? Because the ones that think they can just roll with the new and have the right talk, you know what I mean? They can say the right things, they get on these panels, but they aren't married though, right? If they really took it to heart, they'd be getting chosen already. You can't be on these panels for 6 months and you're not meeting anybody. That's not real. Because if you're ready to be chosen, that's just how it happens. That's how Dennis Sperling did it. He met his fiance in a week. That other chick on was the KS is an older video. She got married in like, I don't know, 3 months or whatever, engaged in like 3 months. So they don't know yet, but they will. They will.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a good way to take us out. Take me in the well, I keep saying final monologue, but I'm trying to trying to end it. But anyway, man, much appreciated, man.
All right, man. I'm out.
Yep. So I know Kevin's on live right now. Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, man, my intention behind this stuff, I'm direct because you got to create clarity. I mean, if we're just shooting the shit, like here's the thing, a lot of the conversations with Lapeef and stuff, these are conversations going to be reflected if you sitting down talking to somebody face to face, where how people take shit, there's a social penalty in folks taking shit and taking shit a certain type of way. And so that's always got to be in the calculation of how you add shit, so you can't never as direct as you often need to be. And the problem with that does not lead to good outcomes. It just doesn't. And women think the shit is cute until you 32, until you 35, until you 40, and then you trying to terraform the environment to fit you, and that's just not how it works. It's not. It's not. And you know, people do, you know, I do what I can being on here, you know, communicating with y'all, you know, shooting the shit with y'all, and then motherfuckers would be like, oh, well, you know, if you're really winning, you would be doing shit on your, like, understand something. When I turn this shit off, I am doing shit, doing the shit I need to be doing. So don't worry about me. And that's why the conversation always spins to making it about you. It's about you. It's about the dude. It's about the dude, because that's a way for them to deflect that there's anything wrong. And the problem with that is, you know, that again, that's a delusion. That's a delusion. I mean, you see it out here where dudes are completely checked out, and by the time the shit gets serious and people get desperate, whether it's them or whether it's somebody else, ain't nobody gonna have no real answers, because they're not gonna be capable of dealing with the answers that are the true answers. They want to talk about what's the solution. Well, there's a solution, and there's a solution you want, and the solution you want is you're not that's not in the cards anymore. We're past that. So anyway, it's been a great conversation. Appreciate y'all hanging around. If y'all haven't seen the full video, definitely check it out. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.